Straight Riffin is filmed in front of a live internet audience.
I am riffing. Mitch is riffing. What more can I say? Straight riffing. Do you know how fucking desperate I am for some comfort in my life? I need that clear.
This show is intended for mature audiences only.
I've seen a lot of dicks.
I don't know how much more disgusting this experience could get.
Are you really not having a good time?
I'm having a fantastic time. I just can't believe how disgusting you are.
I kept yelling, I'm not going to whip my dick out. We talked about that. I'm not going to do that.
Featuring your host, Mitch Marzoni.
I don't walk around going like, hey, I'm really weird. Look at me, I'm weird. As far as I'm concerned, I'm perfectly normal. It's a litmus test for freakiness.
And Teddy Tutson.
I'm a hate mercenary. Yeah.
All right. Hate mercenary.
Hater for hire. Hater for hire. I should put on video guys.
There are two victimless crimes, all right? One, jerking off when your window's open. Two, necrophilia.
I am confessing to a large-scale crime.
Okay, all right.
Now.
Legs akimbo, engaged in sexual discourse.
Come on, man. What kind of guest are you?
It's archived for posterity.
Great internet.
So
It'll
it'll come back to haunt you every day.
It's time to riff.
Oh, that is right, bitches and motherfuckers. It is August 27th, 2012, episode 76. It is time to riff the fuck on. I am your host, Reverend Mitch Marzoni, and with me, as always, is the hater for hire, the difficult brown Mr. Teddy TMI Tutson. How the fuck are you, sir?
Oh, Mitch, I'm still standing. I'm boiling with the rage and intensity right now. I'm riffing on that Nat Turner riffing. I'm on that Avenged Michael Dukakis for 88 riffing right now, Mitch. You know what I'm saying, son? I will put the helmet on inside the tank. Know what I'm saying, baby?
Yet again, I have no idea what you're saying.
Riff
but
operas,
we're
you feel
going
me?
to introduce our guest this evening. Give a warm welcome to Mr. Henry Dittman. How are you?
I'm good. You did not seem very hateful when you picked me up outside of the building. I'm a little shocked, but I'm really, I feel really bad now because I brought up so many great Michael Dukakis supporting statements, and now I find that you hate him.
It's okay. It's okay. I love Dukakis. No, I'm avenging Dukakis. I'm on Team Dukakis all the way, son. Khakis for everybody.
I went to school with one of his kids.
Word?
Yeah.
You were deep into Dukakises?
Well, that would have been Arizona.
What a miserable last name to have as a kid in elementary school.
Dukakis?
Well, that's just
I
it.
never thought of it back in the day when I was
That's
in
tough.
school, and
It would
he was
be-
a candidate, and we'd make fun of it. How
Yeah.
miserable it must have been.
Well, that's the thing. In Arizona,
not a
it
lot
was
It's got
not-
cock
not
and doo-doo in it.
You'd think. Again, you'd think. I think that's why it was like very obvious. Like his dad was in Arizona. He was very, very active. So I think that the kids were like, I'm not making fun
Oh,
of
too
him.
easy also, maybe.
You know, it's like,
Like,
well,
oh,
no,
dude,
you're
dude,
not gonna make fun of the...
Dukakis, and everyone's like, come on, man.
I feel
Yeah,
like you
it's
can only.
like
I feel
too
like that's
easy.
Because then
it's
your
like
parents
it burns
are gonna,
out too quick.
You don't
also.
want to be on that. You know what I mean? If you insult a kid whose dad is like runs a tow yard, who gives a fuck? But if you
Secret
insult a
Service.
dude, dad,
Secret
yeah,
Service, that's right.
you don't want to fuck with that. So
Secret
you're like,
Service shut down
hey,
real quick.
Steve, what's going on? Or whatever. I don't know whatever his name was.
Steve Dukakis?
I don't know his name.
My name's
How
Mark.
boring.
Hey, whatever you say.
You got a last name like Dukakis, you got to go really basic with the first name, though.
Yeah,
do.
you can't.
Mike.
You got it. Yeah,
Joseph.
You can't be Moonchild Dukakis.
Oh.
Blanket.
Yeah,
Blanket.
Blanket
Blanket Dukakis. Yeah.
Anyway, I'll tell you what.
That's
why
really
don't you
good,
take your
actually.
fake ID and get out of my establishment?
I really am Blanket Dukakis.
Take your fucking Monopoly money and you get out of here.
This really is Monopoly money.
Damn it.
Ah, you got me.
Only one of these was a ruse. My identity is legitimate. I promise.
Good night, everybody.
Sky running moon unit Dukakis here in the house. We were talking just before the podcast. It's always awkward when somebody shows up 3 minutes early.
No, man. That's the warm up,
because
bro.
then it's all the good stuff happens, and
bonded-
then we
we
start the
bonded really
show
deep, really
and it becomes like
Right.
we never get to the previous. We always talk about like, yeah, we were talking about this before the show, and we never get to it. So let's get into it.
Roll before we.
But you should
Henry-
know,
Henry
we had
here-
a deep, fast bond.
No, I saw
A
that.
fast
I saw that.
bond.
Henry here was discussing how very recently, in just within 5 years, was living on the same street that I live on now.
It's been a little longer than that, but my
Okay.
first apartment in LA was just around the corner. Like,
Okay.
And
like you could throw a crack needle and probably hit the building.
Speaking of crack, that was the fun fact that we all kind of.
Oh,
we
that's
kind of
right.
danced
Yeah,
with.
the curb thing, in the center of the
Dude,
street. Yeah,
it was a huge crack
Crack Run.
Crack running.
And they
still- I
cruise, so they
still-
put in
I
blocks.
still
A lot of
walk-
crack cruises.
I still walk Yucca like to get to Hollywood and Highland because you
I thought you were
avoid
gonna
all
say
the
crack.
foot traffic.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
it's a scary. Even
Sketchy,
today,
man.
it's still scary to go down those streets. Like I gotta watch anybody with a hoodie. I'm on the other side of the street. I'm walking a little bit faster.
Sure. Well, we've all
I
learned.
can imagine
That's the thing. The hoodie.
during the middle of the crack days. That was probably a
Pre-meth.
very
Pre-meth.
yeah. Those 3 blocks were probably just a.
This was a
death
pre-Hollywood and
knell.
Highland also. Like, it used to be that Hollywood and Highland was just a couple of buildings you could buy souvenirs in.
Yeah, yeah.
Before any of the fancy Kodak theater
Oh,
revamp,
that
before, like,
gentrification.
the outdoor mall. And
It
all that good
doesn't
stuff.
work. All these fancy Art Deco buildings they put up that we were talking about also, the Art Deco buildings, who that would want to live in those apartments wants to live in this neighborhood? I don't understand why they
It's
tear down
it's
the brick and hardwood.
That's why they're right next to Hollywood and Highland.
Right.
Because if you're right over there, you might because you could lull yourself into this falsified sense of security.
Very easily.
Where if all you see is Hollywood and Highland with the big elephants and the fucking tourists
And
shit,
movie
Superman.
premieres every
Yeah,
now and then.
Sure.
and everything's brand new over there, and
Kimmel.
they build up the whole thing. And if you get an apartment right there on that corner, and they got concierge service, so it's like you don't have to go to the grocery store yourself anymore. You could lull yourself into thinking like, no, I live in a real
No,
nice.
you've lulled
But like
me.
walk a block, and you're fucking.
I think you
that's
did it. I think I'm going to move me
All
and
right,
my
all right.
new wife
Right.
to Hollywood and Highland. It makes so much sense. Like when you
Perfect.
see people at these malls that have the apartment condos in it and they live over the mall.
Yeah,
Doesn't
yeah,
that seem like
yeah.
a very short-sighted
You mean like
idea?
on like Sunset and Vine?
Or like what's the Grove in Pasadena or in Glendale or whatever?
right,
it is?
right,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Americana.
yeah,
They got
Americana,
condos over there. Like that seems like it'd be fun for about a minute.
Yeah.
Right.
You're like, look at everyone shopping, and the next day you're like, those fat messes. Fuck this. What did I do with my life?
It's weird. It's like the same thing where, like in Houston, I was talking about. My friend had his wedding at these lofts, and I was like, oh, it sounds like a real cool thing, and it's like a fancy ballroom. But then people actually live there. It's the old school kind of loft thing, and it's downtown, and it's just like I don't really want to live in the place where like a wedding party is happening downstairs in my living room. With I know no one.
No, now you're a photographer.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Like one of my really good buddies, great photographer, has a loft downtown. Makes sense. Because he lives in one little part and he uses the rest of the thing as his studio.
Yeah. Like
But I don't like the idea of not like
it just seems weird.
you can
to
only
me.
jerk off in the bathroom. There's no other privacy. You got
No,
so
no
many
other options.
offers.
No other
Just the
options.
bathroom.
There's no balcony.
you
Ugh, boring.
There's no tanning going
So
on. at all.
boring.
I mean, it's just weird. Like if you have people come over and you're like, oh, by the way, there's gonna be a wedding happening. Just like walk through everybody.
Take
Don't-
it easy.
Yeah, just be cool, man. Just grab some hors d'oeuvres. Let me know if something's good. I'll come down.
Yeah, anyone in a white dress, no
Yeah.
grab ass.
I will say, like right over by Sunset and La Brea, where the Ralphs is, the Rock and Roll. So it's like,
Old school rock and roll,
yeah.
sure.
I would love to live across from there. I would save so much money to have an actual grocery store. CVS has gotten cheaper over the years.
It's not gross.
Oh, you got no grocery store over here.
But
That's
that's
right.
the closest thing I have to a grocery store.
You got Trader Joe's just opened up on the other side.
Yeah,
Of
You got
but
that- you
That's
got
still
that- you
kind
got
of a
that-
ways.
you got the
It's
farmer's
further than-
market.
it's
This is
fur-
the very
I'm talking if I
domestic-
lived across the street from a grocery store. You know what I'm saying? Like
I do.
I would never. And nothing would ever go bad.
I live across the street from a Trader Joe's, and it's the greatest thing that ever
It's pretty
happened to
fucking
me.
amazing to have a
fucking
grocery
asshole.
store.
And then
I'm so
and
jealous,
even
yeah.
closer is a bank, so I can always be like, oh, I never go there.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
That's what
bank.
that's like. This is a very domestic beginning, by the way. We've hit
Yeah,
the grocery
yeah.
store. It is amazing though when a grocery store is across from you because you have that moment where if you don't do something, you're like, "Fuck, I am being really lazy right now." Like, I have
yeah.
no.
Oh, when
I
you
have
drive
no
across
excuse.
the street to the grocery store, you realize what an asshole you are.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, this
Yeah.
is the most fucking pathetic thing. And the only thing that like redeemed it is I was up in the hills, so I was like, I couldn't walk downhill and then walk back up. I was
Wouldn't
like,
want to.
Yeah, I was like, what am I at 1700s? This is crazy. I'm gonna take the transportation, but like you still have so much
This is
self-loathing.
going to turn into the Donner Party. Just going to the grocery store for fuck's sake.
Why would I go to the grocery store to see my buddy?
We just wanted some
We're
Doritos.
so lazy. It's like, have you seen this the photo that's going around the internet where it's like the clearly like African child, and he's looking at a white lady really confused, and the sign is,
Oh, yeah.
Let me get this straight. You have so much clean water, you shit in it?
Ah, yes.
yeah.
I've seen
We're
that. I love
lazy.
The skeptical, yes.
that.
Yeah.
I've seen that skeptical African child before.
Skeptical
It is one of my
African child,
favorites.
yeah.
It is the new world. What you talking about, Willis? He's definitely. It's a very Gary Coleman.
It's very,
New World.
very
New
solid.
World, I
Expressionist
think,
face.
it's true.
The New
Skeptical
World. What
Afro
you talking about,
Yeah,
Willis?
yeah.
New World. What you talking about, Will?
New World, what are you talking about? That's,
You writing it down?
It's the board. We write down things
Yeah,
on the
so
board.
Oh, that's
things on the
great.
board.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to make notes, and then at the end you take a photo with the board so that we have.
Oh, I
a
like
record
that.
Of what happened.
I like that.
Yeah.
The New World.
New World,
What you talking about,
What
Willis?
you talking
I'm curious how
about.
you're gonna spell what you talking about.
What you?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm thinking WHATCHU, but maybe I put too many letters in there. That's just
What?
how I would
Nah,
do
you
it.
said a lot of
Okay,
letters.
I would do the apostrophe bout. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. So
What
he's
you
got
talking
two
about?
apostrophes.
Yeah, we
He's
got-
got so many
Yeah.
apostrophes.
Oh,
I
you did what? Apostrophe chew.
What you
I did what
talking
you is one.
about.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
He has so
all
many
right. Fair
apostrophes.
enough.
We should call them apostrophes.
And well played, sir. Well played.
Apostrophes.
Oh,
You like shorten it up. You know,
Strength.
where's
Strength
my
is
where's my apostrophes? So bothers the shit out of me that I still can't give you shit about strength anymore.
I say that
Strength.
strength and length.
Yeah. Oh.
But
what you say? Everybody
But
on
I
this
picked
side
it up
of the
as
table.
I picked it up as an affectation because I thought it sounded so fucking cool.
Everybody knows something about being black, Mitch.
I'm sure I heard an African American gentleman
Yet
say
again,
it,
I can't
and I was
win.
like, strength,
Yeah, right.
strength.
Yeah.
It's almost like
I always tell them,
huge.
You understand?
everybody-
Here's what happened is for like a year and a half or so
You
of
have no
doing this
idea what you-
podcast, for like a year and a half, whenever we talked about strength, Teddy would say strength. And I was
Hear
like,
that
I was like,
Anglo-Saxon
listen, that's not how it's pronounced. There's a G in there. The E is not pronounced I. And then I found this site that I was just going to talk about for the amount of times that we have conversations. How would we say that word? I think it's this, and I think it's that. Not so much just not arguments say, just curiosity. And I was like, oh, there's a site that'll tell you how to say things. And I was like, we can end this fucking. I should have done it before the show, but I did it on the show. I typed in strength, expecting to rub it in his face, and the guy says strength or strength.
And I was like, that's not true.
Oh, yes.
That's not true.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Henry. Oh, it was one of the best days of the fucking podcast.
I like that
Strength.
your reaction to it was the same as his reaction.
I can't believe
It was
What you know?
unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was.
Swing low, sweet chariot. We coming up.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful and real.
Yeah.
Strength.
Yeah. It
His
was,
his
it was
disappointment.
real beautiful.
You know those moments where like someone has invested a lot in being like, and this is the day that
Yeah.
you go down,
Yeah.
and it just like implodes.
Especially when you didn't actually instigate it. You were like, oh, here we go.
I'm just a man
Here,
living his life.
I got to deal with this proper English website.
Right.
It's going to play me out.
Just trying to
Did
say
not.
words.
I
Here we
have
go.
friends
This
that-
is the one. So
I have-
howjaysay.com. I type in strength.
Strength or strength.
Ribopolis, we did it.
That is like what like my friends at this point when I accidentally say strength will literally stop a conversation and go, "What's that?"
Oh, you.
And I'll say,
motherfuckers, they
and then
got
I'll
nothing.
say, strength.
Gross. Now you
They
got the
correct me.
evidence. I got Exhibit A for your bitch
Strength
asses.
or strength. Who's that guy? Who's that guy that sits around and just reads words into the internet?
Imagine.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
like, this is the worst job I've ever had.
Lonely or myself. I'm terribly lonely.
Totally on myself is going on the board.
Lonely or Tom.
You know why? Because that is like the most believable sentence I feel like he would utter. Like they're like, all right, we're
Lonely.
done recording, Gary. Lonely.
That's great. His name is Gary. Hello, I'm Gareth. The word is wasted life. Oh God. Oh God. Oh, it's a breakthrough. Oh.
I would love to hear the edit sessions from those recordings right there. Just all the off.
Oh, what word would he just not get right?
Yeah, there's gotta be one where he would just like would flip out. That like cause some sort of trauma trigger or something. in
How
him.
many times do you think he gets in like arguments with his friends? Go, no, listen, I know how to pronounce that
Wait.
word.
Arguments with his what?
Well, okay, touche. His cats.
There you go.
It's pronounced meow.
There it is.
There you go.
Oh, it's so good when you get to the same place as another person at the same time.
Yeah.
And just let them play through.
Man.
It's pronounced meow. Mittens. Listen to me,
Oh,
Mittens.
Mr. Snickers.
This is how lonely I think
Listen
this
here,
guy might be.
Bootsy. This is what I do all day, Bootsy.
I can give you a range for this.
It's meow.
I once worked at this TiVo upgrade and repair place. Like people would send in the TiVos and we would save their shows, put a bigger hard drive in, like 750 gigs, a terabyte, and just a shitload.
Wow, just watch your shit.
Right. I mean, just everything, man. It was.
I watched through my TiVo.
You would think, but like you haven't hit terabyte status yet, man.
Wow.
So we get people coming in just spending they got all kinds of money. Obviously, they got nothing but TV shows in their life to keep them company. And I got a call from this one guy who was ordering an upgrade for himself. I'm on the phone with him, and he just starts telling me about how like sad and alone he is, and how like the customer, bro. And like they're looking at me. Everyone's looking at me, and it's a small staff warehouse. So I like my face is clearly like fuck depression. And this guy's telling me how like for Christmas he'll go out weeks in advance and like buy gifts for himself and then like wrap the gifts.
So
and
he
just,
forgets what
and
it is
just
and
and just
surprise?
leaves them under the tree.
Oh no.
And then like he will have gifts to unwrap on Christmas Day, and how like he'll do the similar kind of
Buy
thing for
away
his
in advance
birthday.
so he forgets what it is.
Yeah, like a little bit of that thing, and like for his birthday, you know what I mean, like a similar kind of thing. And I was just like, fuck, this is the saddest shit I have ever heard.
That is literally the saddest shit I have ever heard. I want to say I've really heard some terrible, sad shit. I lived in Los Angeles for 12, 15 years.
Yeah.
That is the saddest thing
Because
I've
like
ever heard.
it was supposed to just be a fucking transaction, and then like he hit somebody.
You're like, I'm just trying to work, man.
right, like bro, like I really just want to ring up your sadness. And like,
I will give you a
Gary.
corollary to that. You know,
Mr. Snickers, please.
you know Mike Rowe, the Micro Dirty
Sure,
Jobs?
Mike's- yeah,
You
yeah.
know he used to be on QVC.
Oh, I didn't know that.
oh really?
So he, smooth talking, good looking guy in a suit. Older women
He's good for a
sitting at
grift.
home.
Sure.
They're gonna call up QVC and
Frigate
he
while they
just-
talk to him?
He was like, look, I'm using this as an opportunity to get comfortable with the camera, so he'll just talk to him. So there's like entire YouTube archives of like him dealing with these women. They're like, I really like the doll you sold last week, and he's like, yes, they are fun. And she's like, I have to be careful because I'm running through my credit cards, and he's like, yep, yeah, I want to. So here, I'll play you one real quick in case you think I'm making this up.
that guy's had an amazing career life.
Yeah. Here's one with a porcelain doll.
Oh my
of some
God, it
kind.
is him.
Look at that hair.
Yeah.
Louisiana.
How are you this morning, Lee?
After listening to you sing a while ago, I'm just wide awake.
Was I singing today?
She loves
I wasn't
him.
singing today, was I? Oh,
Yes, that was beautiful, Mike. I don't think it's words to that song. I don't know the words.
I mean,
to
the guy
song,
just-
but-
do you know?
Consummate
Oh,
professional.
That Merry Little Christmas Day?
But you sounded good.
I was scat singing.
I knew that.
Have a wacky
my.
Merry
He's just
Christmas
chilling.
Day, Lee. I don't know. It's a pretty melody, that's for sure. But,
Well, it sure is, and the doll's beautiful. But your singing, I
was frightening.
This is like the
wasn't it?
weirdest
No,
seduction
she
I've
loves
ever
him.
heard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, so
right.
you get the
Very
idea.
bizarre.
I get the idea, but
There's
I
like
can't
thousands
stop
of
watching.
them. There's
Yeah,
like, yeah.
he
That'll be
also-
the whole show if I don't stop it there.
We could watch it
because
for-
there's like hundreds of them.
He
If you
looks-
just look Micro QVC, there's like several
He
hundred
looks
videos.
a little bit, and like a little bit, I mean, disturbing a lot, like Ben Affleck.
You know, he
in
really
those
looks
clips.
like.
Yeah,
Go
I
back
could see
again.
that.
He
Oh,
actually
yeah.
looks exactly like Mitt Romney. I'm not trying to make a joke.
No,
like
he's got the hair and
he
the
looks
facial structure.
exactly
He's got
like
it.
Mitt Romney.
He's got more life to him, though. He's got more mirth.
Oh my
I'll
gosh.
give him that.
You're on the air.
I'll
That
skip
looks
it.
like Mitt Romney.
A little bit. He's got that.
Little bit.
A little bit. I see it.
Like Ben Affleck.
Ben
and-
Affleck and Mitt Romney had sex.
Well, they did. First of all, listener, listener at home, Mitt Romney
Don't
and
worry
Ben
about
Affleck
Snopes.
straight. They fucked.
Yeah.
But they couldn't have a baby. But if they could, it would look like that
It
doll.
is an
Look
awfully
like Mike
convenient
Rowe.
way to shop. And
It's so much easier to go
I love you
ahead
so
and
much,
pay like 2 or 3 payments on your credit card in a month,
Hold on here, so she
instead
starts
of
complaining about her credit card
waiting
bills.
and having to send a check or whatever. You have to wait longer.
whatever's most convenient for you, we certainly don't want anybody to go over that fine line of responsible shopping.
Oh, I
But,
know. I mean, it's, I don't go to the malls. I
don't like people.
Patience of a saint, by the way.
I
would not.
Get it.
I'd be
Man.
like, bitch,
When
I
I
got
do,
to
I
go.
That's how the TiVo call was, Mitch.
Constant,
Except
amazing.
a
That's
million
that's-
times sadder.
that's why I was like-
a million times.
The
just
whole
like,
time you're talking about that, I was sitting there going like,
yeah.
I was like, I found your,
Yeah.
your equal in that because I was
Oh,
in relating,
And it-
So uncomfortable.
not to you know.
she actually had like I would invite her to a party. You know what I'm saying? I would not have invited Gary to a party.
Not going to
you know
any
what I
more
mean?
of your parties,
Gary,
Teddy.
leave Gary alone. Language professors hate him.
that is the worst.
That's just a banner ad.
No,
I don't think that has
is
anything to do
Gary.
with
That
this.
is fucking
Hey Gary. Hey Gary, thanks for coming. It's pronounced. Get the fuck out of here, Gary.
The thing is, I think he had to say all these words on the side.
Strength.
Like, Streletsky?
That's all he does, Mitch, is say words.
Strelitziacioi.
That
Wow.
was the day.
I think that there is only one way to pronounce that word, and he's guessing.
Strenuously.
He's like strength or
Yeah,
strength.
wait, can you play that other one? Because I'm
Strenuous.
did he pretty sure he started
Did
making
he
up
seem to be
pronunciations
asking a question when he said it?
halfway through.
He's like, or this, or...
Strelitziacioi.
Gave up at the end. You hear that? IOE after C.
Now, that word is spelled Strelitziaceae. So
No,
I'm
not a
going to
real
go with
word.
whatever he said.
Yeah. Also, not a real word.
That's
Bullshit.
Yeah, you got to...
I wonder though.
I don't see a dictionary on
If
here.
you were just him, right? And like you, let's
If
say
you were just him, just one day.
Just
Just
him,
woke up.
Just
You're
Gary.
just Gary.
Living it.
right, you just had all the keys to the How Jay Say empire, okay? And you could do whatever you wanted to.
Oh my God, I don't know where it
Right.
starts.
Honey, it's pronounced
I
penis.
tell you, that's the difference between you and Gary, okay? Gary
knows
knows what
what
he
to
was
do with
He's
it.
been making up nonsensical words all the time when he's on the clock, and
I'll
now
tell
he's
you
just
how to
sneaking them
pronounce all
bitches
the words.
in. Yeah, I bet you if you click on certain words in there,
Ooh,
he
you know
has
what I'm
put, like
curious
penis
about?
in there. Like if you clicked
Oh,
on,
try
Wait,
a
you know,
sexual
here's-
word
yeah,
and
like-
see if he's
hold on,
uncomfortable.
here's
if
what
he's like
I'm curious.
sidewalk, and he's like
if he's like relationship.
wang.
We might be able to, because people pronounce it two different ways: clitoral or clitoral.
Oh, do clitoral.
That's what I'm wondering.
mean,
I
this
wonder
is-
which one he goes with. What do you think, clitoral or clitoral? Before he says it, I don't even know what's going to come up.
Now we're in a black hole.
How do you say it? I say clitoral myself.
Clitoral.
Clitoral.
Clitoral. I'm not
Clitoral does sound a
Canadian.
little
I
funky.
feel like he's gonna throw us all a curveball. Come on, Gary, no whammies.
He probably is gonna. He's probably gonna say it both ways, like strength or strength.
My guess is he says clitoral.
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 I was trying to think how you could do a
clitoral.
strength
Clitoral.
pronunciation on clitoral.
Oh, he's gonna pull it off.
Clitoral.
Do it.
Oh, here it goes.
Where was that?
Oh, he says clitoral.
Clitoral.
Yeah,
Oh, I was
clitoral.
right. He said clitoral.
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 And he said it very uncomfortably. Clitoral.
He did. He did. Like he. Like,
Really? I have to say this fucking word. You gotta be.
Clitoral.
I
fucking-
bet you they did all the sex terms on one day just to like fuck his whole world.
Oh, that's good.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Cock.
Cock.
He does have cock-a-doodle-doo, actually. Oddly enough.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Get out of here, Gary. You're the worst.
Cock-and-bull.
How about
Gary, could you pronounce this one?
Cock-a-snookert.
Could you pronounce this note I'm giving you? I'm leaving you, Gary. Oh, good Christ.
you're an inefficient lover. You know
Wait,
nothing about
I'm
the
leaving.
clitoral
wait, can we
stimulation
did
of a
his
woman.
did his one lover in his life give him a note to pronounce that said that they were leaving?
Yeah,
him?
during
That's
it-
the fucking-
during
That's how
her-
you'd have to do it. If you
while he
leave
was
that guy,
working.
you have to say that. You have to
God.
go, pronounce this shit, Gary. Pronounce this.
Because he's a terrible asshole.
You would-
And so you
Right,
have to make
right.
him pay on microphone.
You would, if you were really cruel, you would like stick it into the script, Ron Burgundy style, and like right when he like fucking turned the page from his word, he'd be like, "Are you ready for the
I'm
next
leaving
take?"
you, Gary. Oh.
It
Lone
would,
again.
it would be just.
Naturally.
I'm single
Gary, that's a keeper.
or suicidal.
I just like to imagine that he's got like the one headphone on. Like we are the world.
Cochleostomy.
We are the world
Cochleostomy.
rocking it, like
That's right.
feeling it, like colostomy.
This actually brings up one of my favorite things that I think about a lot as a person who takes the bus, and that is the guy who pronounces all of the streets on the bus. For
Oh,
LA.
yeah.
Because like everything is really cool for the most part. It's like Hollywood and Highland, you know, like there's a lot of things that are really cool. But like there is, I don't know why, but there is one street. It's Nebraska. That he, for some reason, whenever it comes up, like anytime I've been on a bus like that, it just sounds
What's he
like
say?
he just goes, it's like Santa Monica and Nebraska.
Like, ooh,
It literally is like,
Nebraska.
it's like that. He'll be like Highland and Nebraska, followed by Highland and Las Palmas. And you're like, what the fuck did Nebraska? And I always
He hates Nebraska.
and I always imagine them like having 15 takes with him, just be Nebraska.
And they're like, we get it, Mike. You hate Nebraska.
Right, and
Just
then, like,
say it.
You're like, all right, how's the recording session going? He's like, well, everything's fine except
That's
for
where my
Nebraska.
ex-wife moved.
Yeah, right? You're like, well, why doesn't Nebraska working? Why don't you go work with that asshole and make him say Nebraska?
It's too difficult to edit out the word fuck when he always says, fuck Nebraska.
Yeah, right? And what do we? What's the best that we have? Nebraska.
Do we have a better take? That is literally the best take.
How long have we been at?
It's
72
actually
hours.
Nebraska.
It's
Oh,
Man, fuck you, Gary.
right. Like if they just did one British guy to come in, like the whole bus route you've been riding for 40 minutes.
Hollywood and Highland and Nebraska.
Here comes interview zinger. Speaking of voiceover work, you did the voice for Rain in Mortal Kombat.
Boom. Well done.
Now here's where I'm confused.
you know what's
Here's where I'm
you know what's
confused,
really
'cause I looked up videos today because I was like, I don't remember anybody named Rain in Mortal Kombat. I'm not that big of a fan, but I figured I'd remember Rain. And I look it up, and I was waiting for him to like at least turn to the camera and be like, yeah, you know, or something. And it's a lot of did you do all those voices? Did you do that? Do you do the utterances?
What's really
All right,
funny
go ahead,
is
go ahead.
that if you had picked any other credit on my IMDb page, you would have picked a credit that I actually did. I don't know how I got credited on
Okay.
Mortal Kombat
All right,
game.
all right.
I didn't do it.
Okay.
This is the second time I've done a podcast. We're like, you were on Mortal Kombat game, and I was like,
Oh, man. All I wanted to
I was
know
on
was
Final
the-
Fantasy.
okay.
I'm on Naruto games.
I was about to ask on every single other video. I have every other game written down except for Mortal Kombat. And the one time you executed
I don't
a
know how it
brilliant segue.
happened.
I'm
I
sorry.
don't know
Look,
how
the
it
only
happened.
reason I ask is because I wanted to know what the recording session was like. Okay, we need a little bit more of a.
But that is, I will tell you though, because I'm a regular voice on Naruto.
Okay.
And,
You've done a lot of those, right?
A ton.
Yeah.
Like
I've
I've
seen
done
you do
something
video
like
games, yeah,
40
yeah.
episodes of Naruto as a recurring character,
Okay.
and the video games is the same character.
Right.
Those fans are so legit. I think it's possible that they played the game and were like, well, that sounds like Kabuto from Naruto, and I'm gonna click on it. Like I guarantee you, it was a fan of Naruto who put me on that game, but I didn't do that game,
That's fucking. So
and I don't get the money either for
all
the
the fucking hassle.
I would-
session.
All the perks.
I would say, listen, I'll
be
take
so
credit,
great.
but I also want the money.
I should have just said, oh, so but on
To be
Naruto
fair,
games, I do those fighting scenes a lot. You'll do like 2 hours of dialogue, scenes, and acting work. It's great, and you're listening to the original Japanese dudes do it. And although the American stuff is more high energy, you listen to the
I've
Japanese.
been hitting my shin. Ow!
You listen to
All
the
right.
you listen to the Japanese dudes do it, and you go, man, these guys. It's like a dramatic film when they do anime. Like it's
Yeah,
in
yeah.
America, animated stuff is higher energy. In Japan, it's like a psychological drama. I don't know how much of it you've watched, but like there's some of it where they're like, when people have sex, it's just a way to forget that you're all alone in the world, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But then you do all that, and then they're like, all right, now I got to do battle sounds, and so it's 2 hours of smaller, smaller, bigger, now charging, like you. Sorry about your mic, but like
no, it's cool.
Literally, it is just it's hours, and now
I'm just going to sample that and
I've
make
been-
my own game
I've
now.
been-
right?
I've been-
That's how you get free Henry
Gary
Dittman
is
sound.
going to masturbate to that shit and when he hears this. How dare they? It's pronounced.
Oh, Henry, could you do that sound again?
It's
I like
pronounced grunt.
man.
But now
Groin
10
punch.
years later, I just did the most recent game, and they've done like 20 games.
Right.
10 years later, this week I did a recording session, and they're like, "All right, do a small battle sound." I was like, and they're like, I mean, I did it in like 5 minutes. And when I left, they were like, "Man, you really got it down." And I was like, "This is the worst moment of my life." Like this
Or
shit,
best.
this is where it's come to,
No,
is that I
man.
can really nail these like grunts and groans.
You know what? That is a fucking phenomenal thing. You should hang your hat on that one. Because the second that you did it, I was just imagining like thank God we got the Godfather, the soul hanging up on the wall right there.
Right,
And
right.
it really is like you're channeling James Brown, where it's
There's
just
a
like,
little bit of that.
I could imagine like,
me!
if
No, I
James
get
was
it.
just doing overdubs, you know, and they were like, all right, James, just do like a little lower.
They're trying so hard to make it better on the anime stuff. Like, if you ever watch the old school anime, like Akira and stuff, it's really, oh, hey, Johnny, you're gonna ride your bike, Akira. Like it's not Robotech. It's nonstop talking. They try to make it better, but at the end of the day, you're dubbing English off of Japanese. It's a very different language.
I'm big on like Japanese horror films,
oh yeah.
and I remember when I first
Best
started
horror
watching
films.
them.
Best horror films.
Oh, fucking amazing.
Korean is the best revenge movie.
Sure.
Japanese
okay,
is the best
fair.
horror movie.
Actually, there is I have a banned horror movie came out of Norway that was like banned in
they're
fucking like
dark.
40 countries because they actually use a cadaver to like do all the cutting up of dead bodies.
A real cadaver.
Yeah.
The Norwegians are so dark.
Fucking
Getting that death
hardcore.
metal scene, man. up
And the
in
movie's called
Scandinavian countries.
Ibsen and all that
It's just
shit.
it's called like
Eat their band members and stuff.
it's like Revenge, a killer film or something like that. It's got a real fucked up plot. It's basically a woman gets she misses her bus one day to school, and some guy. No, I'm sorry. She's on the way to a bus, I think it is, and somebody picks her up and takes her into the forest and like rapes her, and she goes deaf because they punch her in the ears so many times. She goes deaf. So now she's got to go to a deaf school to like learn how to,
How much longer is this pitch?
sign language and shit. I know, it's crazy. So then but wait, it gets worse. This is something like so much worse. So then she misses her bus to the deaf school that she has to go to because she was raped and beaten and lost her hearing.
She's got to go to
So
a
she
handicap
misses the
school?
bus, and a guy picks her up and says, "Hey, I'll take you to school." And then he's like, "Hey, you don't need to go to school. Let's just hang out. Let's go to lunch and shit." So he takes her to lunch, takes her back to his place.
Rapes her ear hole.
Worse than that.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Drugs her. And then while she's out, I don't think this is a reality thing, but in the movie, this makes sense. Gives her like an almost lethal dose of heroin over the course of a few days, so where now she's a heroin addict. So he's like, here's the trick. Okay, so you're locked in this house, and you'll die if you don't get your dosage of heroin. So I'll give you heroin, but how are you going to pay for it? You're going to fuck whoever comes in the house. So she's just a for hire, and he gives her like $1 a week.
Jesus Christ.
So over the course of 5 years in the movie, she takes that $1 a week and she pays for kung fu lessons so she can learn how to kill all these motherfuckers with her bare
it's
hands.
a revenge. This is a Japanese revenge picture?
No, this is the Norwegian one.
That's a Norwegian one? What's
Yeah.
it called?
I believe it's called Revenge, a killer film, something like that.
You saw Old Boy, right?
Yeah. I think I missed
can't-
the last 20 minutes of it. So
What?
But hold on.
You can't say anything about it because it's
Ichi,
the ultimate
Ichi the Killer
twist.
is what the one I was going to talk about when I talk about Japanese horror, because the first time I watched Ichi the Killer, I was still in that I don't like subtitles mode, which terrible mistake. That's where you learn that mistake is Ichi the Killer, because you watch it with the dub overs, and it's just terrible.
No.
It's terrible.
I've never tried that. It's
Atrocious.
just awful.
Oh, it's terrible. It's just terrible.
You
It's-
get a skill for
because
reading
the way
subtitles.
the way that everybody talks in the movie, they're all, as you were saying, they're all very excited, but it's a super dark film, and they're talking about really dark subjects, and they're like, listen, sometimes he likes to rape and kill, and you're like, that's not. And you listen
Also
to the
because
original
it's
one, you're
It's, I guarantee you, it's also because they are really cheap, and so
Yeah,
they get
yeah.
like 2 guys and a girl to do all the voices.
Oh, okay. That
So
would make sense.
once I've done this guy and this guy, all I have left is this guy. Hey guys, sometimes he puts it in a butt. So
Yeah.
what's up?
he slices open necks and drinks your blood. What are you gonna do about it?
On the bottom of the barrel.
Gary, can you do some different voices? I rape her in an anus or a noose.
That old boy,
Ichi is
isn't
a
it?
whole
It's
Old
being
boy,
remade.
man.
It's being,
Blooded
who's in the remake?
Oh, they're remaking it. They
There's
shouldn't.
an American remake
They
happening. of
shouldn't.
Old
They
Boy.
should just
Did you-
distribute it in America.
Did you not know this?
Don't say.
How did you both not know this? I never even
Because
seen
it's the
Old Boy.
worst news I've heard all
Okay,
week.
I do know
sorry.
that Josh Brolin is going to star in Spike Lee's Old Boy redo, which is interesting.
That's
I
Is
like
that
Josh
it?
Brolin,
That's
and I'm
what's
into
happening, yeah.
Spike Lee.
It's
It's
Spike
too-
Lee is
doing that.
helming
It
an Old
is
Boy
too
remake.
dark for American audiences, and we can't. Unfortunately, we can't talk about the plot points. It's not responsible.
We don't have the cultural base. Japan, and even a place like a Norway, like Korea and stuff like
They
that.
won't accept it.
Well, there's a more, I feel like, an honesty that runs through the culture. I think like in Japan, it's the difference in how they handle things culturally versus America. You can look at their Fukushima nuclear disaster, where they had a report that just came out a couple months ago, and the report was an official government document that was scathing of the government, of the nuclear industry, that talked about the plutocracy that had bought, from the nuclear power that had bought government officials over the last 50 years and had lowered safety standards, and how they lied to the people about everything, and how it was infinitely it was a very honest document, because that level of honesty is an integral cultural element. And I would say that's a reason that you can get. And it's not to say that, there's a different conversation about the actual content of the movies themselves, but why the culture can seemingly sustain it more, I would say, in some way.
You think that Japan is more honest to their citizens about things like that than?
I would say that there's no real equivalent in terms of a natural disaster. We had politicians apologizing to BP after the oil spill. There was no equivalent of a report that thorough that came out. It's all very underground, working its way through the pipelines. The Justice Department's suing Halliburton, who's suing BP, and all the corporations are suing each other, so no one takes any fault. But there's no document out there that's an official document that the people can turn to that'd be like, everything was a lie. This was wrong. This was wrong. This
See,
was wrong. This was wrong.
I think
I mean, there is, but like it doesn't have a cultural resonance. I mean, that
hear that.
There was a thorough report issued from Congress, but like no one gives a shit. You know what I mean?
I just think the real problem is that America is.
Can I get a Warner? Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I just think the problem is that America is like. It's not that we're that immoral a country. It's that we think we're the most moral country.
Moral authority. Yeah.
We think that we are the most moral country on the planet, and then at the same time, especially in our foreign policies, we do incredibly immoral things.
Oh, terrible.
So as a result of that, we cannot handle entertainment that is as base as Old Boy is. I wish that we could really talk about these plot points. I just don't think we can. If you have Netflix, you gotta watch Old Boy, but don't watch it with your girlfriend.
That's why.
She doesn't want to watch it.
And also,
But
it's one of those movies you don't want to watch if you're the slight bit tired, because it takes about an hour for anything to happen.
Yeah, but it's so brilliant.
I'm not
The
saying it's
acting-
not.
No, you're right. You're right.
It's a slow buildup.
So
But it's
There's a
amazing.
lot of those. Like
It's also
I had the same
great
problem with Audition. Took a good 40 minutes before you were like, "What am I even? What's the? Oh, okay."
It's
All
a
right.
great stony watch. It's a great
Yeah.
It's Friday night and I didn't have anything going on.
Well, I was
Let me
just
just
say
smoke
about
this blunt and watch this movie but be focused and put your phone down.
what I like about the sort of the Japanese culture that still pervades to this day is they have this overwhelming the pride thing and the shame. The shaming,
Shame
the
is a
pride.
big element. Shame
Like
is
they are
I will
big
say
on the
shame.
shaming.
That's what I
and
was
the-
trying to get at earlier. I would
Like
say.
the amount of samurai warriors that were like, I missed him with my arrow. Guess I gotta kill myself. And you was like, you can just like
You're only
No,
30.
son. No, you have to die.
Yeah.
That was it. That was literally your whole existence was one fucking strike, and you missed it. I got what am I gonna do? I'm gonna live a life of failure from
well,
now
like
on?
all
I
the
got
if you
to
read
die.
stories of like samurai,
We don't even want to give it up at 80.
like samurai
No, I'm good.
battles
I'm gonna
and
beat
shit.
this.
The amount of times where they were like, okay, we're gonna go into this town and it's like if they failed with their mission, all of them would just stand in the center of the town and be like, well, seppuku. And they were all and it was like part of their training to be like, look, you need to know how to cut off your own head, otherwise somebody else is going to do it for you, and that's really embarrassing in the afterlife. Even it's a sense there's a shame if you can't cut off your own head kind of thing. There was a guy. There was
Can't give yourself dignity.
There
You
was
can't
a
sustain
there
your
was
own
a
dignity kind of
protester
thing.
guy who was the one that took over a like military leader's office and to kill him, but then he was going to commit seppuku as well, but he failed at cutting his own stomach open, so he had the guy there to take his head off if he couldn't do it, and the guy just went, and then that was that. And he's got like a book and stuff, the guy who had to ultimately do the beheading. And it's amazing that these English journalists that'll interview the guy, and they're like, what was that like? He's like, it's just what you do. I mean, the guy failed to cut his own
So
stomach
great that
open.
he got
You
a
gotta
book
fucking
deal.
just
Yeah,
right.
His buddy failed at killing himself. And
I'm
got a book deal.
It's
Hey.
unfortunate I can't think of the name of the guy.
I mean,
you
look,
know
man,
what?
I did
Japanese,
this campaign of Japanese beer commercials for 5 years.
Yeah,
for
you've done a
Green,
lot of- yeah.
for Kieran Green Label, and
Okay.
it was a Japanese gig. And also, side note, my dad was a military man, and we lived on Guam, and we went to Japan a bunch of times. But this Japanese beer gig, like you'd go to Japan, and you were chilling with.
Were you on bases in Japan or? just
No.
kinda
We were just there vacation.
Okay.
But when I did these beer gigs, we were working for a Japanese corporation. And you were like going to all their events, and you were meeting the biggest TV stars in Japan. And their honor system is amazing. It's the most, like, it's no joke.
Shit is thorough.
They are honorable. Like, you learn all their traditions, and you go in,
found
and
the guy,
and the
sorry.
one guy in our cast who wouldn't learn any Japanese phrases, you just watched every time we did one of those jobs. You just watched the dudes who are Japanese go, "Pfft."
They just like fucking shun you.
And it's like they knew we weren't going to learn Japanese. But when we would come to them and just say, and I mean, it's been years, so I'm not even going to try to remember the phrases. Like when you would just say like, good morning, how are you, good to see you, you just watch them like, that's right, thank you. And then they would insist on speaking English back. But
Right.
like,
It's like that
it is
basic
a very
ba-
honor-based society, man, for sure.
Well, I think-
Beautifully so.
I think the shame.
I think
the
I
shame
think some of
factor
the
is-
shame we need to bring. We need to.
We have no shame.
We
here.
need to import some shame.
We
yeah.
ha-
Oh,
we-
we don't know. We have no
We
shame.
have no
We
shame.
also
It's
take
a
no blame.
It's a shame deficit, yeah, as well. But I think that's the thing. I've been playing one of my favorite.
There would be no Kim Kardashians in Japan.
It's fair. It's a fair point. One of my favorite games is Total War. It's the whole game series where it takes a lot of historical element, like historical eras, and you simulate military tactics and different infantry and things like that. So I finally downloaded the iPhone app version of it, and it's set in sort of feudal Japan. So it's a lot of the ancient Japanese, fighting regiments and things like that. And there's a thing at the end if you have a unit that you can't use anymore because it's very tactical in terms of how it is. So like if you need to like get rid of someone, you can dismiss a unit, and they don't just like disappear. Like in other kind of games or whatever with mythical games, they do the seppuku where they fucking just they straight up in the game they're like, oh, you don't need me anymore? Well, I'm done. I like that attention to detail.
And meanwhile, in America, we're like, we've paid him $250 million to
I'm
play baseball.
I'm waiting to respawn.
He's done with his career. We got to pay him more. No, you don't. You don't have to pay him anymore. He's retiring.
Now you can move into the booth.
Your money's been valuable till now. You think it gives you power? Okay, I've got the story I was talking about.
Okay.
The guy's name was Yukio Mishima, and he was doing it was an attempted coup where he was going into the. I'm going to pronounce all these words wrong. This is in the 70s.
Go to Gary.
November 25th, 1970. Ichigaya Camp. The Tokyo headquarters of the Eastern Command of the Japan's Self-Defense Forces. Basically, he was going in there to do he was going to stand on the balcony and give this speech and be like, all right, rise up. And everybody's like, who's this fucking guy? Like, fuck him. Like, they just mocked him. They didn't give a shit about his speech. But he intended to kill himself after that, seppuku. So he went inside with a guy, Masakatsu Morita and Hiroyasu Koga.
Nice.
These are the two guys that were going to help him sort of do the thing. So he tried to commit the seppuku. He failed. The guy who was supposed to behead him, which was Masakatsu Morita, failed.
Did he have to kill himself?
Yes.
Oh!
It gets better.
Oh, damn!
The customary.
Morita?
It's called.
My second favorite Morita.
I like how
Pat
you-
Morita is my favorite Morita.
It's called Kaisha Kunin duty. At the end of his ritual, had been assigned to Tatenoki member Masakatsu Morita, but Morita was unable to perform the task. After several failed attempts, he allowed another Tatenoki member, Hiroyasu Koga, that's the one with the book deal, to behead Mishima. Morita then knelt and stabbed himself in the abdomen. Koga once again performed the Kaisha Kunin duty. So that guy was like, you fucking amateurs, and just knocked off both the heads and then walked outside and was like, I'm
wrote
sorry.
a book in their blood.
Nah. Well, I think people were
like
like,
how
we
you-
have to know, because this happened in the 70s. It's like modern day, like you wouldn't think that
Were
just
they
happened.
practicing the samurai code then still, or was it?
No, this was a guy who
They're
was like
just
trying to
dudes.
restore honor to Japan. So he was saying like these forces were like dishonorable to Japan, and that's what his whole speech was about. Was like they're dishonorable, and sort of to like prove how he was into the honor of Japan. Whoom, and failed at his own seppuku. Had to get his head, but the guy who was supposed to do the head chopping failed at that, which of course.
It's tough, bro.
That's like, you ever play butts up as a kid? It's like, yeah, if you catch the ball, you're good. But if you touch the ball and it rolls off your hand, you got to go touch the wall. And same kind of thing.
You remember that moment?
Yeah.
Remember that moment
if you
too?
fail, like if you go to do it and you don't fucking complete the task, you're fucking.
But do you remember the sound you used to make when you would fail at that moment? Do you think that they did the same? Do you think they were like, oh no, now I gotta. No. Wait, so it's not called Harry Carey?
That's a sports announcer. You're thinking of Harry,
Right, but
Harry Krishna?
No, but isn't there also? I've heard people use the expression Harry Carey about Japanese suicide.
Probably because of. Oh, there we go. Thank you. I was thinking of
Harikari.
I was thinking of the Goonies.
There
that's
is
what
there is
what
something.
Josh Brolin's character says.
Yeah.
It's not Harry Carey.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's what you're.
Back to
Hi.
Brolin. That's our second Brolin reference.
If you were a hot dog.
If we say Brolin one more
Yeah.
time, he's going to show up in the studio.
Hoping. I'm
Brolin,
surprised,
Brolin.
though.
Brolin, Josh Brolin.
I'm really
Josh Brolin.
surprised that you had not heard about the Old Boy reboot.
That's
with
I
with
don't
Spike
think
Lee. Spike Lee.
if they
at the-
change-
I'm surprised I hadn't heard it either, but no, I had not.
If they change the
till this.
plot, I'm going to be really mad.
The other thing they will say, going back to Japanese culture, an interesting thing that I noted when Google Maps started doing this thing where you could do a historic layout or layover of an old city on top of a current city, right?
That's great.
Which is pretty cool.
Oh, I've seen that
But
before.
problem in Japan, there was and I could probably look this up, so I'm going to get all these facts wrong, but the basic idea is if you worked with the dead or with, I believe, butcher shops, which was also considered working with the dead, you were considered just the scum. Like you were just lower
Even if
class.
you're like, you just a gravedigger or whatever?
Yeah, you were like, because you've touched dead, like you're part of the dead industry.
We
so
don't
they were
let you
like,
back
you're-
in a respectable society. So
Right.
You can't
So
come back in.
they would relegate the families of those into a certain part of town, and it just stayed that way. And we're talking hundreds, if not thousands, let's say hundreds of years later to modern day. Google goes and lays over this map, and they're like, oh, that's where those families went. And so, because modern day corporations still won't hire those families if they can get proof that they lived in that area. But there's no record. Like, Japan's been trying to hide that record. So Google was like, hey, check out this map. Aren't you guys interested in the map? And it's like all these people were like, the fuck are you doing? I can't get a job now.
What is it? Oh, because how is it?
Because it was like you're showing a map of like the area that this person lives in that was like towards the end of that sort of period that people had forgotten about.
And their drapes are made out of like people's skin and shit.
No, it's just that it was
at what
erased
point
from history.
At what point we just say, hey, fuck you guys then? That's right. I deal with the dead.
I feel
Do you want to buy a table?
It's one of those weird like cultural.
I'm going to try to look it up. It's very difficult to look up. But.
Google is it's a fucking crazy thing with Google. It just being at the forefront of where they are in technology in the 21st century, and some of the things that they stumble around culturally, and you see how people respond to certain things differently. I think the best example is they had their car that was just going around street mapping everything, and it also had the big ordeal where it was just snatching up Wi-Fi information and people's passwords and all that shit. And so a lot of the countries, moved against Google, and there's a lot of lawsuits in that regard there because they wanted to know what's going on in that. And so Google is. It's like a brilliant case study for everything from that shit to like making the Japanese extra unemployed to cars without drivers now. That's their new big thing that they've got going on. Google has got its hand in a lot of shit.
Have you seen the shot of the guys in the scuba suits chasing behind the Google car?
Yeah. I like that.
That's America's response.
Pretty much, yeah.
Japan's like you're screwing with our history. Norway is probably saying, this is invading our privacy, and America is putting on old-timey wetsuits and running after the car. Bunch of idiots.
Oh, okay. So here it was. Google announced added historical maps of Japan to its online collection last year. This was written in 09, so this is 08 this happened. Right. The finely detailed woodblock prints have been around for centuries. They were already posted on there, blah, blah, blah. Google failed to judge how its offering would be received, as is often done in Japan. The company is now facing inquiries from the Justice Ministry and angry accusations of prejudice because its map detailed the locations of former lower caste communities. So that was the sort of thing, so like companies could figure out, they could sort of trace the way that a family had moved throughout Japan back to the shamed. It's a strange. And again, I'm getting a lot of this is wrong.
It's not about a map. It's about like a traceable line of where their family came from.
It's basically if you were overlaying historical map data, which if you had it on like a scroll, it'd be kind of difficult to compare. But they were like laying it online, like an image on top of it, so you could see where the old neighborhoods that have been torn down and replaced, and so on and so forth. You could go, oh, this used to be the area for those.
But wait, the modern day Japanese corporation would shy away from hiring someone who 80 years ago their family was a mortician?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's really intense.
Japan has its own cultural variety of it, but in regards to, I think, employment discrimination here in America, you see a similar kind of thing with a new phenomenon in the sense that a lot of companies, the longer you've been unemployed, the less likely they are to hire you. And it's been a huge thing to the point that companies are openly stating they are discriminating against the people who have been prolongedly unemployed.
Yeah, but that's not the same thing as your great grandma ran a funeral home, and as a result of that, you bring dirty spirits with you, and you can't work for the corporation.
That's a fair
point. Now, that said,
that's fair.
What you're saying is nuts.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, what are you going to argue that, like, there are cities in this country where people cannot get work? So you're just going to argue that those people, it's their fault that they couldn't get work for
that is literally what you will
years?
say. Yes, that's what you will. That's what you say. I mean, that's what they have said.
Because the other argument is, at some point you say, well, I guess I could go get a job at Walmart. But I'm an engineer. So I'm just going to basically, like, you could equally screw yourself by just taking some job to pay your rent. Because then they're like, well, you've been working at Target this whole time. Why should we hire you to be an engineer? Like,
that's the whole game. You do. That's the whole game, though. I mean, that's how it's been set up. Where I think that a lot of the reason that you see that is a lot of employers now is after the the economic collapse is that they got very accustomed to getting highly skilled laborers for nothing because people needed a job. And now you're seeing a slow economic recovery, and there are still those highly skilled laborers, but they're like, okay, now you're going to need to pay me, and now companies can't fill those same positions for $10 to $12 an hour because people are expecting a wage. And then you listen to these companies and you listen to people that run them, and they're like, we can't find any workers. People don't want to work. And it's like, of course, no one, it's a two-way street. Of course, you're not going to find anyone to work for less than a living wage. It's absurd. That's not a problem. You just made up a thing because you're stingy. You know what I'm saying?
Take that, corporate
I was gonna say,
America.
I found the thing. It's actually they're called and now hopefully this is not like a slur, but it's they.
But these black bastards.
Tell you something about these sons
Hopefully
of
this
bitches.
isn't a slur, but these dirty crackers.
Well, it says Wikipedia just refers to them as a social minority group, so I'm hoping.
I couldn't help it. It's too good. Come on, that's a great setup.
No, go ahead. By all means. That's why he's laughing. It's good. It's good.
Damn it, Henry. Damn it, Henry.
So these,
I hope you're not going to write these black bastards on my quote board.
I'm thinking about
Please
it, but
don't.
hold on. I can't wait to have a picture of Henry just smiling with these black bastards in the middle and me with like a thumbs up over his shoulder.
I'm sorry, Mitch. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, it's
I don't know
fine.
what's going on in the show, but I don't like it.
I apologize. I'm having a great time. That's my fault for getting loose.
That's fantastic.
So
that's what we're all about, baby.
These Japanese Negroids were.
Oh my God.
It just says a social minority group. It's called the Burakumin. And
I thought you were talking about Japanese Negroids. I thought you were like that. That was
yeah.
That was pretty dope.
That was the thing.
I got that band
They're
name
doing an
unlocked.
American
That's
remake
me.
with Josh
It was-
Brolin.
They were an outcast community during the feudal era, which consisted of people who dealt with the tainted professions, which would be death or executioners or undertakers or gravediggers or tanners, apparently. Anywho, so they were like in their own sort of ghetto. The issue now, reading a very brief synopsis of that Google Maps thing, it says castes in Japan have long been abolished officially, but the problem is that many companies still do background checks on individuals and refuse to hire the descendants of Burakumin. Background checks are also sometimes done before a couple gets married, usually by the parents of the prospective bride or groom. So, in essence, you could look at an area and go, oh, that's this family lived there then. I know that family's last name. That's who my daughter's marrying. This is not no, basically.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's
crazy.
there you go.
That's tough. That's tough, Google.
Yeah.
That's gotta be. I mean, that's what I'm
I'm
saying.
gonna
It's a
be
weird
having
needle.
Leave it
in the
alone,
red.
Google.
Where you're like, hey, we got all
Back
this
the
fucking,
fuck off,
right?
Google.
You're like, hey, look at this cool fucking thing that we got for you guys. You can put your history on top of this map, and everything's awesome. And you're like, Google, you are fucking up everything right now for us. Why you gotta be like that? Did you
Leave
even,
the past in the
right,
past,
did you-
Google.
Did you even talk to anybody?
It's pronounced Google.
It's Google.
It's pronounced I Googled the whereabouts of my ex-girlfriend.
Googles.
Well, you did host a travel show for a while though, didn't you?
I did, man. That's a great gig.
The Smart Show.
The
I
Smart
believe,
Show.
right?
Yeah.
So what exactly went into all that? Did you hop around from location to location?
Yeah, man. It was a great gig. It was Holiday Inn Express sponsored it, and by sponsored I mean they gave us free hotel rooms basically.
Yes.
But we did. Again, keep in mind I'm a military kid. I've moved every 4 years of my life. Then I came to LA after college, and 10 years later, had created a career for myself. And at the moment that I was quitting my day job, got a new manager, things were starting to move for me. I got offered this hosting job, and it came perfectly with the wanderlust of already several times I felt like I've been in LA at the 4-year mark in LA. I had a crisis where I just was like, I feel like I'm supposed to leave. I didn't accomplish anything. Well, you don't accomplish shit in 4 years in LA.
Right.
Like that was the mark where all my friends left. They were like, I'm going to come to LA 4 or 5 years, and then if it doesn't work out, I'm going to go. And I was like, later.
Yeah.
And same thing the next 4 years, 8-year mark. I was like, man, now I really feel like. So at this 10-year mark, I got this wanderlust, and I got this gig. It was like Boston to LA, 10 weeks. Everyone on the crew was younger than me. Everyone wanted to party. And we did Boston, Philly, New York, Nashville, Atlanta, New Orleans. By the time I got to New Orleans, we were all alcoholics.
I was about to say, I mean, yeah.
Like-
New Orleans is
like
your last stop on an alcohol tour.
Oh no! By the way,
That's
it was,
tough.
and it wasn't even the last stop. Like
Tough.
Like every city, we'd be like, people would say it became it wasn't even a joke for the first several weeks where people would say, "Ma, we'll sleep in Nashville." we're gonna sleep in Atlanta, and we just kept. And the one city we were in that we weren't by bars, we all had kitchenettes, and so we went and bought wine and beer. And
Salt Lake City.
And this was my first. This is where this is where something crystallized for me, which is when people come into LA and they're like, "Man, I'm gonna tear this city a new asshole." That's the same thing as when people say to Vegas, "Man, I'm gonna blow these tables to pieces," or when they go to New Orleans and say, "Man, I'm gonna fuck New Orleans up." Nobody gets out of New Orleans.
No one comes out
in good shape. I got so close to getting arrested because I thought I was peeing in an alley.
I've been there.
And then, like, I realized
Not in New Orleans,
I realized I was suddenly, as the cops pulled up and shined a light on me, I realized I was on a major street, 10 feet from Bourbon Street, and they were like, well,
Preach it.
I zipped up real fast and started walking. They're like, "Where are you heading, sir?" And I was like, "Back to Bourbon Street." And they're like, "Where are you heading, sir?" Back to my hotel. That's right, sir. So we got to that point.
Or urinate.
By the time we got to that point, everyone kind of broke down, and the beauty was we were in New Orleans for Halloween.
Damn, debauchery for
which
real.
is nuts. And by the time, and our first day of shooting after our first night of partying in New Orleans was a swamp tour.
Right.
So it's like 98 degrees.
Humidity just like a fucking
humidity,
200%.
alligators, camera guy puking into the river.
Oh, man.
And then from that point on, it was pretty mellow because we got our shit out. Like by the time we got to Vegas, we did do Vegas on that tour, but we had a day off and everyone was like, "I think I'm just going to chill by the pool." Like I was like, "Guys, we're in Vegas. We got to hit the tables." And they're like, "No, I'm all right, man. I'm pretty good.
Here's some quarters. Yeah, take some slugs."
But it was awesome. And the show, like...
Yeah, what did you guys focus on in each location? So
the thing was the smart show. So they wanted to focus on all the things that were smart about a town but not be cliche. So while we were in New York, we did go to the Empire State Building. But in the Empire State Building, there's a business that rents sleeping pods.
Oh yeah.
So like we
I know
go
what
in
you're
and be
talking
like, "Oh, you're..."
Wait, why do you just know this?
I think
good.
we've talked about it on the show. It's basically instead of a power lunch, you do a power nap, and so you can go into this building, and they got little pods.
Sensory deprivation. You get in a pod.
Right, okay.
So like we kind of go like, "Oh, you're..."
I would totally do that instead of
something
lunch.
very different.
Oh yeah, okay, fair enough.
Not a rape pod. You pay and then we rape you inside the pod. It's a Korean film.
Right next to jizz buckets. There's jizz buckets on the right, rape pods on the left. Make sure you don't knock on the wrong door.
It's pronounced jisms. But the point was to like focus on like the smart thing about a town and sort of think outside the box. But like, do you remember that it was one of the earliest viral videos. As a matter of fact, I bet if you had to define the first 3 internet viral videos, this might be the first one.
Me. I will have this.
Montgomery flea market.
Oh, God.
I'm talking about flea market.
Yeah,
Montgomery. It's
just like a mini mall.
A mini mall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like a mini mall. It's a mini mall. It's just like Montgomery.
Yeah.
Flea market.
So some of it was stuff where our producers were a little misguided. Where they're like, "We got to meet this guy," and I was like, "Why do we got to meet this guy?" And they were like,
"We do,"
because he used viral marketing to make his mini mall more popular. And I was like, I don't think he used viral marketing.
No, he just sang for 10 minutes.
I think he made a
really
shit
terrible
commercial.
Yeah. It was like fucking 10 minutes long too.
Yeah, so we go
it's
there.
absurd.
We built a niche industry around his product.
I want you to imagine, like, I didn't even know how to describe what this place was. Like, half the place was empty, half what was filled sold
sleepers and futons and
knickknacks,
mattresses.
Like, it was a mess.
Can we pull that up?
Oh, sure.
You got to pull that up. It's such a great video, but that was one of the things we were like going to it. I was like, guys, this is a business travelers show, and I don't think what we're gonna find there is gonna be nice. It's gonna be bad.
Yeah,
but I did find some really great knockoff.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's only 2.5 minute long commercial, not 10
They had
minutes.
knockoff NBA jerseys, and I'm a Clippers season ticket holder, and I was like, oh, Clippers throwback Norm Nixon jersey, but it's so clearly a knockoff. And I took it to a Laker game, and after the game, hung around until Norm Nixon was done doing the post game and got him to autograph it, and he was like, oh, all right. Oh, man, this is a Clipper jersey. Oh, that's him.
Oh, man, I love it.
It's just like a mini mall.
Oh, yeah. Come shop
This is the long version,
This
by
is
the way.
clearly, yeah, it's like 2 minutes plus. It's clearly like whatever local public access station he ran this on was like, we have no commercials. We need commercial sponsors. He's like, I'll buy the whole block. Just run my commercial and
Also,
nothing
even
else.
I would have killed
even
so.
wait, go
look
back,
at that
go
dance,
back.
son. Look at that footwork.
You need it, you'll find it. It's just like a Minnie Mouse. Hey, hey, you heard me. Come shop. I said Flea Market.
Look at the ceiling panels. The ceiling panels are all tore up.
A Minnie Mouse. Hey, hey.
Well, guys,
Bedrooms, dinettes. Oh yeah, you can find them at the
Skipping ahead to 1 minute and a half.
he made his son do the dance for me in the parking lot. It was really awkward. The kid was like, "Oh, come on, pops."
Oh, no. I don't think you need a breakdown in here. But let's break it down anyway.
I would have. My favorite thing.
Okay, so you get the idea.
If you could have, I would have paid just so much money to have been a part of that creative process from beginning to. I mean, like when he was
Making
at
a
his
commercial?
kitchen. No, like when he was at his kitchen table drafting the lyrics. When he was on the fucking Fruit Loops.
What do you think the
like,
name of the DJ was who made the song? Because that's my
I
curiosity.
think that he did his own.
I'm,
think
shit.
he mixed
I'm
his
telling
own
you,
music?
He did- he did-
here's
he
I'll
did-
bet you what happened. I'm sure we could look up and find out.
He-
exactly
he
what was
used some
made.
Pro
I'll bet you.
Tools.
I bet you he found a fucking loop and was like, "That's all I need.
He
I've
built
got
his
this."
own shit on Pro
Yeah.
Tools.
And
I
he
bet it
probably
wasn't a-
was like,
it
he
wasn't
probably
Pro
didn't write
Tools.
any lyrics. He probably was like, all right, here's what I want you to do. Just point the camera at me and do a blue screen thing for like half of it. And then we're going to go shoot some footage
why
of
you
the
don't
thing.
give that man credit for
And he's
writing
probably
lyrics,
like,
son?
You know, it was like
I'm
two-
saying like
He
he was
put a
probably like,
breakdown in that. You think that's all improvisation? He wrote a
I
breakdown.
think a lot of it. I think a lot of it was
It's
like,
just
look, I'm
like,
just let me
it's
just
just
sing.
like a mini mall. That is not a lyric.
I get knocked down, but I get up again, and you're never gonna keep me
Chumbawamba.
down.
Fair enough.
Ugh.
Fair enough, man. But also, you know,
Pissing
it
the
wasn't
night
Pro
away.
Tools. It was two
Pissing the
boom
night away.
boxes. It was like play and
I don't know.
record on a boombox.
I'm sure I could look. You want me to look up how that? No, I don't want to go into
No,
that.
we've
I mean-
spent
I
enough
mean-
time.
So
Oh,
did you did
man.
meet with the guy and made
I
his
met
son?
the guy. He was a really nice guy.
Yeah, I imagine.
and
Really
also,
nice guy,
and
yeah.
also, we like. I realized very quickly through the process because we posted a new episode every day of the week, Monday through Friday. Every day we had
Wow.
to shoot and then hand it to the editor. She had to edit it. She had to post it. All that stuff. And very quickly, I realized that my little camcorder with the fisheye lens that I would make little video blogs with would help us get through our day quicker because, as I've said before, by the time we got to Montgomery, I was a problem drinker. like
Right.
it's one thing to like. I mean, it was all because it was a party scene. Like, it's not like I've continued to be a problem drinker, but the truth is, we'd have whole days where I'd be like, I just don't feel that good, guys. We'd go to dinner and I'd have one beer and I'd be like, man, I feel great. We got to go party all night. Like,
the hair of
there's
the
no
dog,
doubt
yeah.
that that's, like, I get why when people are like, oh, rock stars, well, they don't have to drink when they go. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Your
When
body
you
gets
go on the
you're
road,
mentally
and when you're
conditioned.
and also you're surrounded by people who want to party, it's very difficult to look at a
It's just
room full of
like-
people who are
it's
like,
just like a rock tour.
yeah, like, well, like, I just know, like, you can't be the guy who's like, well, I got a wife and kids at home. I know you guys are gonna party, but I'm gonna go to a hotel. They don't let you.
Right.
They don't let you.
I got a whole book of Scrabble
I mean, especially if you're on a small crew
just gonna
shoot
do a
like
little
that,
Scrabble.
Yeah.
where everyone's
and also
just
part of it
real.
is about bonding.
Right. And it's just, and a large part of it is that everyone's in close quarters. You're all traveling, and the same proximity
Yeah.
with each other. If you are gonna be the guy who's like, no, I'm just gonna go and retreat.
Especially when I have to say, when you're the talent, there's such an immediate assumption when you're the like actor on a set or the host in a project that you're a diva. Although in my experience, most of the freakouts I've seen on a set are not the actors. Like, the truth is, you're constantly fighting against this impression of some guy who's not cool.
Which is
So when they're like, we're going to go drink, you're like, yeah, okay, I'll go drink with you guys.
I
Let's
mean,
go party.
and in fairness
you want to be
them-
accepted.
And in fairness to them, I'm sure they do encounter a lot of people who are professional grips and crew members and things like that.
douchebags.
Right.
Douchebag actors they meet.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, all the time. So I mean,
Yes.
it's that healthy skepticism,
Yeah.
where it's like you got to prove to me that all of my empirical evidence can be checked at the door.
Yeah.
So
But some of that is misconception. Like, there was
Fair,
this,
that's fair.
there was this thing about Julia Roberts going around where she was like, I'd prefer people don't look at me while I'm doing a take. And people are like, oh, there's not people to look at her. But imagine if, like, while you were doing your day-to-day job, 100 people on set were literally like,
right. I mean,
and on top of that, you had to like find emotion or say your lines or act like people weren't around you, but they're all like you kind of can get.
you can. I mean,
Some of it is
yeah.
unfair.
I mean, some of that does gets warped a lot when anyone
Plus,
who
like,
is in that very
one time I hit a grip in the face with my fist. That one time,
right.
because he wore a shirt I didn't like.
I throw a phone
But
at your face
no,
one time.
It was either the fist or seppuku.
But you want to be
take
the
your
cool
fucking
guy.
pick.
It's overcompensating. There's plenty of situations where people overcompensate, and it isn't just like in their work situation where like, oh yeah, how can I make these guys like me? They don't like me, whatever.
Right.
But also, I really wanted to party. Like I'd been working a day job at an office.
But also, I really
and
like
I was
the
like,
taste
I'm
of
on the
booze.
road. Let's do this. You know,
Well, that's not that dissimilar from, for instance, the tour writers and stuff like that. When people talk about, you look at certain acts, tour writers, and you go, who's this fucking guy? 10 bottles of Evian, perfectly chilled. But then I started to think about it, and I was like, well, I do all my shopping. If I was like, hey, pick me up some soda and some vodka, and they bring back like Schweppes or something, or ginger ale, and Barton's, I'd be like, it's not the right vodka. You'd be like,
also get to a
you'd
point.
be kind of bummed. So if you're like, look, after a show, I want these things, you're gonna start getting really specific after a while. I was like, listen, I've had bad experience with certain Arrowhead bottles of water, so let me just stick with Fiji because they're always good, or whatever it is.
Or you weren't specific, and they just were like, there's some cups by that tap over there. Why don't you get yourself some water? So you get specific. The other thing is, as an actor, I find a lot of the times that you get specific about your requests, it's because they've already said they can't give you more money. And you go, all right,
That's
cool.
fair.
Well, then do me a favor. I'd like to make sure that at least I have
Want some Ritz
this.
up in this motherfucker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
now
want
look,
all the cheeses.
Now look, when you've got someone who's like, I want all green M&Ms. Obviously, that is also a
but there's
weirdo.
but where that comes
But also,
from,
like, you have to figure, like, think about the Christian Bale thing.
right?
Say
right,
anything you
right.
want about Christian Bale. At some point, somebody from a studio
it's just-
sat him down and said, hey, an entire comic book franchise rests on your work. An entire comic book, movie, animated series, all that Terminator shit
All these
rests on your
auxiliary-
work.
yeah.
It's all you. The studio will fail or rise on your work, your name, all those things. And it's like, you kind of got to give a little
And the
bit
guy
of a
and the guy who was
pass.
directing the movie had only done music videos before, so that was like his debut.
Yeah, so you're
So
like,
it's like, yeah, you're kind of
so-
making or breaking
so
an
now
dude's
look,
entire career.
Did he go overboard? Yeah.
Wait, what are you talking about?
The Terminator Salvation.
You're talking about
Yeah,
okay,
MG.
Yeah,
MG,
I know
okay.
guy-
That was the blow
saying
up.
the comic stuff.
The good for you.
Yeah.
yeah.
that
But
was
also,
amazing. I
but
love that.
if he'd done the exact, even more so, that's what keeps happening to these people. It's like, hey man, this whole studio is going to feed hundreds of thousands of people,
Right.
or not, based on whether or not you do your job, and we're putting your name above the title. I can't really judge those
I think part of
people
it-
when they like lose their shit a lot.
I think part of it though is that we exist in this very TMZ commoditized world where things like that outburst may have been public knowledge, but it would have been industry only public knowledge,
God,
which
it
is to
never
say,
would have been- yeah, you're
to
right.
say no one in the rest of the world would have known about it and thereby would have given no fucks.
But then we wouldn't have got the Family Guy
Right.
riff on it, which is pretty great.
Right,
But you're right. Like,
But the other thing is,
you're right.
and so like if you sort of examine the creative process from that angle, and it's the sense of you've got very little context for the interaction and the onset development between Christian Bale and whatever grip or tech person
It was a
going
DP,
there.
I think, and I think
Right.
he continually
Like,
fucked him
going
up
to
in
the
his
shot.
emotional
Right, yeah, he's
reversals.
like going to the and so like you've got these heightened emotional takes, and it's the same kind of thing that you're saying, where it's like, listen, yeah, you got all these fucking personal sort of awareness, consciousness of like, I got all these financial implications if my shit isn't right or whatever. But on the same time, as an actor or and Christian Bale, I think, is one of those legitimate creative of the craft type actors. You can see that with The Machinist, where he like gives a fuck
Yeah, he goes for it, yeah.
about his actual product and what his name is associated with on screen. So you've got that element going on, and then you've got kind of the element that you're saying where like, you're trying to convey these deep, nuanced human emotions,
man.
and at the same time, you're aware that you're playing pretend because you've got all the studio backing behind you, and some guy's dancing, and you're trying to fucking
He's trying to
concentrate
focus and cry.
and like, and maybe
He's trying to cry on
right,
camera.
yeah, like your whole day might have been frazzled, and like he's got a lot of shit going on with his mom and stuff that came out afterwards, where he like had the family altercation with his mom and his sister at a hotel
you
room.
really
Yeah,
know
yeah.
this story.
Yeah, I remember that.
I studied.
yeah.
I studied.
Well, see, that's the thing is like between
It's
the
not It's not someone dropping a pie plate behind Eugene Levy when he's trying to do American Pie
Right.
12.
Well,
a
it's
dude
like
who's
he
really
had
doing
he
his
had
shit.
all that personal stuff, but then the thing that a lot of people forget when they think about the freak out is that was not it was not. He didn't freak out for 5 minutes straight. That was a cut up version of like 5 different times where he was like, seriously.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
See,
it was
exactly.
Like, he was going like, it starts off, if you remember in the beginning, he's like, fucking seriously. And then it was like quiet
so
for a few
that's why
seconds.
he gets to, we're done.
So
And
he's
professionally, we're
but
done.
he even says a few times throughout the thing, he's like, you're a nice guy. I don't hate you. You're not a fucking
And
whatever.
then they
He's
cut
like,
it.
but seriously, no, it's in there.
No,
He's
but
just
that's
like,
at the point that they probably cut away because it probably
no, because he
digressed
says like
down
he
to
goes,
we're
you're a
good.
nice guy, blah 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 blah, but stay the fuck out of my shot. Was basically, it made sense in a longer like on a.
But that said,
but again,
we-
you think
we
about a
do
guy
also-
who probably isn't getting a lot of sleep, who's had to do wild changes to his body. He went from American Psycho to The Machinist to Batman, which is like. You shouldn't do that in your life,
Yeah, like,
much
have you
less
ever-
in a period of like a year.
Have you ever read like what Hugh Jackman when he gets ready for Wolverine? He's like, I wake up at. I read an interview with him where he was like,
Right.
in my workouts, I wake up at 3:30 in the morning to eat a chicken.
Yeah.
To
Right.
eat a chicken and then go back to bed because I
Not cook and boil a chicken.
No, I eat that fucking
Just,
live
I just
chicken.
take a chicken,
I eat it
neck
out. I
whole.
eat it out.
Defeather it with my
Sexually,
asshole.
I eat that chicken. Oh no, like
Yeah.
because he has to put on muscle. Like we look at these guys and
yeah.
go, oh yeah, well you're a personal trainer, you guys do all this stuff, but like
If you're doing it, there's a lot of intensity.
I took off some pounds this summer, and then I put them all back on this weekend with pizza and beer down in Redondo Beach. Like the idea that we're gonna and then we put out all these magazines. We're like, oh, he's fat. Look how fat he is.
Well, I
at the
remember
beach.
reading
You're
Christian
like,
Bale's
leave Jennifer
thing.
Love Hewitt alone, man.
Yeah.
You know she's got those big titties. She's gonna have a big butt. Leave her
from
alone.
from American Psycho to Machinist, he'd eat like I think it was like an apple every few days, and it was like his wife would wake him up in the middle of the night to make sure he was still alive and shit. But then when he went from Machinist to Batman, he was when he auditioned, he was like 30 pounds underweight for what they wanted for the role, and from Machinist to Batman, he was like, dude, I would hold a bucket of ice cream in one hand and then chicken legs or something in the other and just
to put
like
on
all day
pounds.
long just putting on as much fucking weight as he could and then working out the rest of the time. It's like it's I think
it's not a
everybody
realistic way to live.
I think everybody
No,
at
it's
some
completely
point
unrealistic.
at some point in your life just take a visit to LA for like a week if you have to and go to Central Casting and be an extra on something just once. Just it's literally
amazing
anybody can do it,
experience.
and it's quite amazing that there's like no security. Like there's just
You can walk into LA,
Yeah.
sign up for a service, and less than 3 days later be on a film or TV
Yeah.
set, and sometimes be this close
Yeah.
to major stars doing their scenes.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. And but you learn a lot about like the things that they have to put up with. You learn a lot about what an extra has to put up with. And
it's
then
the
what's the
hardest
only problem
fucking
is
job
that
in
you
town,
like
dude.
fucking when you watch movies after you've been an extra a few times, it just ruins it for you because you start looking at the background and you're like, those fucking guys are like Dark Knight Rises. One of the big fight
didn't ruin
scenes
it for
towards
me.
the
I
end.
didn't- you didn't ruin it.
Yeah, as
I
long as you
blocked
don't
I
look at the
blocked
background. But if you do, you'll notice these two guys are like holding onto each other's shoulders, and one of them starts laughing. He's like,
What?
fucking ridiculous because he's all and then he kind of in between a face he's like and they're holding each other's shoulders and just sort of rocking back and
They're
forth.
not fighting.
Because like what are you gonna do?
That was
I'm
my-
not gonna just deck this dude.
I'm
And
knock you the fuck out, son.
They're
Try-
20
Batman!
feet off in the background. They're blurry. It's a split second, but it's amusing enough.
That's,
Yeah,
that's a
you
man,
wanna-
that's a
that
man
was
who's
my first
bootlegged
gig.
it and who is fucking taking too much time and spinning it. But
all right, I want to get into some news stuff. So go ahead.
No, last thing I was gonna say is that I think it's a very difficult thing for people who haven't done the theatrical work in the sense of rehearsing and the intensiveness of it and working the same scenes over and over and the stress that builds up when you're in that kind of confined creative, mental, psychological space. You know what I'm saying? Where you're like, I can't really go outside of this if I deliver a quality product, and those little things that would otherwise just kind of blow off into the wind build up and you just fucking pop off. And I think we've all been there before. I know like fucking theater rehearsals in high school I can remember where like I went ape shit over this dude who was being a douchebag by pretending there was like a ding button on the typewriter, and I just like berated him and the director and the whole theater because I was like, this is clown shit. I was like, this is clownery right now, you know?
No, but part of being an actor is going a little crazy.
Right, and if
you have to believe you're somewhere else. That's
if that
crazy.
had been if someone had leaked that shit out to the world, I would look like a fucking lunatic.
Think about when you went to the bank and they were like, do you want a roll of quarters or 2 rollers of quarters? And you're like, just 1 roll of quarters. And like if you were a famous person, they would be like, oh, he's a fucking dick.
Right, exactly.
Like the times that you have not been the nicest, sweetest person in the world, if we were famous and we were at a store ordering a dinner, like just now I got a beer down on Hollywood Boulevard. And the two people working at the bar would not stop chatting and look at me. And after like 5 minutes, I was like, I got to get to this podcast. And I was like, excuse me. And as I said it, I was like, oh, that sounded a little sounded a little rough. But it wasn't at all. It wasn't my intention. But I heard it. And they turned around. I was like, hey, could I get my check? No big deal, but could I get my check? If I were a famous person and they were in the wrong mood, they would have gone to all their friends and be like, he's a fucking asshole.
Fucking
Like,
take you to the gossip
it would
rags.
have been like Gary, excuse me, or excuse-moi.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's that precarious of a balance to
Yeah,
walk, and it's
yeah.
one of those. And I feel like there's a lack of awareness for a lot of people on the outside looking in of the balance that goes on, and I think a lot of that is because it's been watered down with reality TV. And
It's also been turned into a whole other What was that?
Good thing we got cameras running.
Oh, poo, poo, poo. It's also
Gay
been turned
or
into
homosexual.
Queer, the queerest. It's also like
Queer hand maneuver.
we've turned it into a whole other industry to psychoanalyze and turn people, and also to psychoanalyze people who are artists,
Right.
but also to make nobodies famous just for being hot.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, if I had gotten into the business now instead of 10, 12 years ago, I would have been a fool not to make sure I had zero body fat and a six-pack. Because, like, you could just get famous right now, get on a reality show with a six-pack, be good to take your shirt off, and you can be...
No discernible skills.
Somebody described to me The
I've been
Bachelor...
on a few of those without a six-pack.
Ew.
Well, that's why you're not on right now.
Somebody described to me
All
the
for the better.
process of like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. I've never watched that show, but somebody was like, "Oh, well, this girl, she was on it, and then she got married, and then she got divorced, and now she's the Bachelorette, and then the guy that she picked, he's gonna be the next Bachelor." And I was just like, "Man, this."
It's like you've set up your own little
That's
mini
the thing.
aristocracy.
The one that drives me nuts was the between the what was his name? It's killing me right now. Public Enemy.
Chuck D.
No,
Oh, Flavor Flav.
Thank you.
Flavor Flav.
Flavor
Between
of
Flavor-
Love.
Flavor Flav.
Between Flavor Flav and the Brett Michaels one,
Rock
both
of Love.
of them,
Rock of Love. That's right.
both of them spawned like 7 more shows, and it was
I'm
just
just looking
like
for love. No, you're
like
not,
this
Brett.
one girl went off here, and then she created her own thing, and now then one of the girls on that show.
That's
and
the
it's
beauty
like,
of the
holy
that's the beauty of the
shit.
grift, man. It's the beauty of the VH1 grift is that listen, you get
just
one
porno.
person in with a bunch of eclectic, just non really discernibly talented people willing to do
hotties.
people who look good on camera or whatever,
Yeah.
but are willing to say or do anything to be provocative. And you're like, well, that person's entertaining, that person's entertaining. Okay, we'll give these two a spinoff. We'll give these two a spinoff. We'll
It's-
repeat the same formula, and then we'll get more spinoffs.
It's
I mean,
really softcore pornography. It's really like it's there's not any kind of a difference behind watching one of those shows all the way to the point where they're making out. They are making out in a hot tub in bathing suits.
Oh, yeah.
There's not that big a difference between that and what you find like Arabian whatever on Skinamax.
yeah.
Sure,
Like
sure.
a bikini
Less,
trials
the only
or
difference is
whatever.
there's the less pretense of like, oh, on VH1 they're like, hey, they got bikinis on, whatever. And like Cinemax, they're like, listen, it's 2:00 in the morning, we ain't trying.
But
You
you're
know what I mean?
still not going to see penis.
You're still not
going
gonna see any
vagina.
penis, but you know,
You're
we
still
know.
not going to see penis going
Right,
to vagina.
But VH1
Okay,
is like,
let me
well,
move
you
on.
know what's happening.
Yeah, you want to go to news.
Let's move on. I got some stuff. I got lots of stuff.
Okay,
I got
fair
lots of
enough.
stuff.
Chatty cat.
All right, this
Oh, go on.
there's one we could get into, but it might end up taking the rest of the episode because I'm so
Fair enough.
fascinated by the fact that this exists. This is a thing called tin hatting. It's like a sort of phenomena.
It's a new thing.
It's not like a viral thing. It's just sort of like that's the phrase that people use for this sort of phenomena online. There's a phenomena online of people. You've heard of fanfic, right? This is what's called RPFC. Is this real people fan culture, and there's groups of people that come up with these sort of almost conspiratorial, like two famous people that they're for sure belong together, and there's like evidence that maybe they're hooking up, but then it evolves into a thing where they're like the only reason they're not together is because of some like nefarious guy behind the cloak that won't let them be together.
Like actual celebrities or like fictional characters?
No, actual celebrities.
Oh, okay.
So they call it tin hatting. Some people, people who just sort of discover this would call it tin hatting because it's like tinfoil hat, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Like you fucking conspiracy theorists. So one that I found out today that I thought was interesting. There's a band, like I guess a boy band called One Direction.
Yeah,
Sure.
Okay. Now apparently
very
there's
popular in the charts. With
there's two guys in the band that are closer to each other than all the other guys, and there's communities. They call themselves the Larry Stylinson, which is like a conglomeration of the two names of these guys.
Of Larry and Stylinson?
No, it's Louis Tomlinson and Larry. God, what is it?
But do they only think that they're gay
Anyway,
because one
so
guy's penis fits so perfectly in the other guy's butt?
It's perfect fit.
Gary!
I'm back.
I love all your cameos, Gary. I'm
have
a
you
big
forgotten
fan.
me?
A big fan. We have actually.
What's interesting? So the idea is that somebody on a blog called the Daily Dot looked into this and was like, look at this thing that's going on. So the fans of Larry Stylinson are like, he was paid off by the management company for One Direction to write that article to keep these two boys from realizing their love, and one of them has a girlfriend, but they're like, there's no way. And I thought this is fucking just weird as weird gets, but it reminds me of that XKCD that was out recently where they were like, there's no bottom. Humans just will get weirder and weirder and break off into subcultures of subcultures. There's just no bottom to the small, if two people give a shit about it, there's a community, and it's going to be a Tumblr tag. So then I saw this page where it shows these two guys interacting, and after seeing this page, I gotta say, it doesn't seem so crazy. So I'll show you some pictures.
Sex.
Very close.
Oh, he's just whispering in his ear. He's just whispering in his mouth.
In his ear? Yeah. So there's that one.
He's just
now
whispering in
here's
his
some
mouth with his
animated
penis.
gifs. Now here's the four guys or whatever. Now these are the two guys I was talking about.
those
That's the
dudes?
Larry Stylinson. And then you see them break off from the group, and they're still holding each other. Now this is the one that's interesting, where it looks like the
think they're having
management
their photo
guy.
taken.
It looks like the management guy is going, "Hey, Dad, don't hug him right now."
Yeah, no,
Hey,
that's exactly
hey,
what's
get back
happening.
over
That's
there.
literally what happens there.
Now
he
here's-
literally does. He literally is like,
Now
hey.
here's the two guys at a press conference. Tell me that's not the fucking lower lip bite of I gotta get me some of that, right?
His hair is so much swoopier than mine.
That's them again, right?
got the
Holding
same
arms,
hats on,
right?
and
Now,
Jimmy
tell me
hats.
this is not. This looks like a smooch right here. That totally,
Oh
yeah,
my God, they're in love.
right. But now here's some pictures of the guy with the girlfriend.
No, she's.
That does not
She
look.
looks just like the other guy.
No, but look, that's not how the hover hand thing.
He's
They're definitely not
he's
hugging.
leaning away from her.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then this one, he's kissing the
I'll
back of her
kiss-
head.
If I could kiss your ear.
And then this one where he's like, okay, let's just pose for the cameras. He looks thoroughly uncomfortable.
Yo, look at the top button
This
all the
is-
way button, son. That is not.
This is not a. That's not a kiss. He's
he's not
smooching
kissing
her
her.
chin.
He's not kissing her. He's leading with the nose.
This-
we did it like a straight
Yeah.
couple.
Look at the.
She's got her eyes open. Oh, it's a kiss cam, probably. It's a kiss cam, so she probably.
I don't know. It's
I
from
don't
the
know,
same one as
man.
this.
I don't know. I think that she's
All
like.
right. So
did they
anyway,
get that
I don't
one
know.
Already?
I don't know if this is a. I don't know if it's. I'm
I'm
fascinated by the idea that
there's
there's.
tension. There's a
First
lot
of
of
all,
tension.
Now that's not
I
the
hope
only.
they figure it out.
That's not the only place where tin hatting is. That's just the most recent one I
I'll
could
say
find.
this.
But
It's
I'm
a little
fascinated that
weird.
there's cultures of people that are
a
like,
little weird.
these two people need to be together, and the
What's-
only reason they're not is because
That's fair.
it's got all the elements of Romeo and Juliet. It's like a classic story. You've got a big shadowy group of men, cigars and mustaches in a room, like yeah, we can't let them get together.
Or three guys in a studio. We
Forbidden
were
love.
so into it just now.
Yeah.
We
Like,
got
I
real
get
deep.
it. And also, I
it's-
hope those guys figure it out and just find love. They look very romantic for each other.
Here's what I'm
I'm
saying.
not making a joke.
No, I'm with you. I'm
I
with
get
you.
it. And I agree.
Absolutely.
It's
Why
sad-
would
it's-
girls like them less if they were gay? Like, aren't we all?
That's the whole thing.
I
This
think
16-year-old
that
girls don't
we-
give a
these tin
fuck.
hatting
They
communities.
don't make money.
No, wait. These
Bullshit.
tin hatting communities I'm talking about are mostly females. Talking about those two guys, like they're right for each
They
other.
love
Who's that
it.
bitch? You know what
They'd
I mean? That
love
kind of
it.
thing.
And they'd be
Yeah.
like, oh,
Okay.
I wish that I could.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair point. Now, this is what I'll
Fair
say.
play to the queen.
I'll just say, maybe.
queen.
Listen, I think we know that when it comes to pop stars, mass appeal, what have you, there are still certain shackles, if you will.
Yeah,
on,
sure.
Outing yourself.
Not everybody can
sexually.
be tattooed.
Okay, right? You know what I'm saying? I think it's the same thing that kind of is swirling around Nicki Minaj and all the lesbian rumors around her, and the same kind of thing there. There's always this thing of pop stars never really being able to buy into their own sort of sexuality. You know, I think
Does
it's
Lady Gaga
it's
have
a
a
very
penis?
it's a
But
very
wait, but who's
recurring
the
thing.
hip hop artist that just came out saying that he had a gay, his first love
Frank
was a
Ocean.
man?
Frank Ocean.
Look, man,
Yeah.
I actually think that if you're talking about people over the age of 25, I agree with that. But I actually think that kids these days, take it into like the legitimate city centers of this country. I don't think they would care if those two kids were gay.
Now
I don't think that Ricky Martin would have to lie about being gay.
I think you're right about. No, I think you're right about the kids. It's
I
fine.
think I know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
I think
because the kids don't buy the albums, their parents do, and their parents ain't buying no fag album.
And this is the thing is that the people that are running it are still similar to their parents in terms of disposition, as opposed to the kids. Now Frank Ocean is a really awesome up and coming R&B performer. The kid is crazy talented, but Frank Ocean is not anywhere near the mass appeal home.
You're right.
The adults are buying his album.
Yeah, but also,
I would say One Direction is plugged into the top 40. That TRL circuit, that kind of thing.
England
I mean, that's
also. P.S.
They're huge everywhere. They're international phenomena.
But here's the other thing.
So
the adults may buy the albums, but I actually also think that I don't know that there's that many kids out there buying CDs anymore, and I bet you that most kids do have the ability to pick the music they want to.
I think you
discount. I think
that it's
you're thinking about like an iTunes gift card. They could just go on their computer. I'm going to buy that.
But the record producers would still be perfectly out of touch with. Well,
absolutely.
Girls won't like you if they're gay.
Well,
they totally will.
Disney, makes these fucking acts like the Jonas Brothers, and they're fucking vehemently always what purity rings, man, purity bracelets, like no sex for us ever, and it's like that's just it. You know what I mean? You could just have a band without that, but Disney has to like have this. No way, it's okay for your daughter to be into these guys, these effeminate dudes, because they're just not about sex. So we're gonna take that off the table for some reason.
Yeah,
we're taking the entire.
Miley Cyrus did a fake drug.
Well,
you should be glad she did a fake drug.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing.
Yeah, she's like an adult now. Okay, she's fucked. Disney's gonna. Whew.
I happened to watch fucking Miley Cyrus, Nicholas Sparks movie. She did The Long Walk or some shit like that.
Teddy.
I came across. I mean, that shit was the other day.
Long Walk Home.
Okay. I'm just gonna tell you. I knew it was gonna be bad. Do you know what I mean? But like, fuck, son, this shit was abysmal. Yo, like it was.
You sound so surprised.
Because it was even exponentially more worse than you think it is gonna be. Do you know what I mean? Like it's gonna be a shitty film, okay? And it's gonna be terrible. It's like walking up to a crime scene and being like, okay, I know I'm gonna see a lot of dead bodies, and then like you get inside it and you're just like,
that's a lot of dead bodies.
Fuck my life.
You remember when you're watching the most recent
Murder.
Indiana Jones and then they nuked the fridge and you were like, no, what? Come on. Like, you knew it was going to be cheesy and wrong, but then they nuked the fridge, and you go, what are you? Now you're just pissing on my face.
The moment in Indiana Jones' new movie where they were, like, in the crypts, and you're like, that is so clearly a studio set, and they lit it, like, with just a China ball. Like, just like an IKEA China ball over paper mache crypts.
Yeah.
And now they're running around them, and you're like, they couldn't. You kept waiting for a joke, and you're like,
right? Nope, nothing.
Nothing.
And I guess
it's like that.
Yeah,
it was that bad.
It's that bad.
Because you expected it to be
because
good.
like literally, I guess this is what it is. It's like,
why did you watch it?
Girlfriend.
So I respect her. I respect her.
So and like she also was like, I know it's gonna be bad, but like, come on, I'm not feeling well, and I was like, okay, we'll bottom. And then we both were just like, holy fuck, this is terrible. Because like Miley Cyrus is doing the things that you're like watching the movie,
you
and
you're like,
you're like 40 minutes in, and you're like,
never be able to.
You're like 40 minutes in.
Your girl didn't feel good, so you knew you weren't gonna make out with her, and then on top of that, you watched the worst movie in the world with her.
Sorry for
That's
caring.
bold, man.
Sorry for caring.
That's a strong relationship. You love her. You clearly love her.
So like we're just like watching, and like 40 minutes in, you're like, what? Like where is
what
the
was her
drama?
response?
What about?
Did she love it?
No, she was just like, I'm so sorry.
Good.
But you're just like, what? I don't understand. And she'd be like, so wait, what is happening right now? And I'm like, don't you see her life is so hard? She's been scouted by Juilliard since she was 5. And she doesn't get along with her dad.
I almost spit
it's
up some
so
water.
hard. That's a real plot point, by the way.
And bile.
That's a real plot point. And then she plays the piano again, and like it's so hard for her to live.
What can I do with all these countless millions? All right, I'm moving on.
Okay.
Anyway, I just wanted to let you know about a thing because I thought that was fascinating.
I mean, it is fascinating though because he hasn't changed that much since Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears. And that whole like we don't have sex. Do you know what I mean? Like it hasn't changed that much since then.
but they weren't Disney artists.
They both were out of the same Disney track.
Yeah.
No.
They weren't Disney. They weren't Disney.
They were Mickey Mouse Club, but their
yeah.
individual careers. She was out there in like a mini skirt and a tube top and all that stuff.
I remember being very uncomfortable when that happened because I was like,
I was like
20 when that happened,
yeah.
and she was like 16.
And you're like, it's
she's
really
all,
exploitative.
It's a baby, and I'm just like, I don't think I'm supposed to be
You're
watching
like,
this right now.
she's 16 and I want to fuck her so bad.
Yeah, and I was like,
officer!
I remember thinking just like, I don't think I should be watching this right now.
Lou Pearlman, who was the guy who put
I know
together,
who you're talking about. Yeah,
you know
yeah.
Lou Pearlman. He
Yeah,
was
he
the
did
guy
all
who did
that
the
shit.
He did
Yeah,
Backstreet
yeah.
Oh, I
Boys.
watch Making the
All right, I'm moving on.
He
I'm
was
moving
a
on.
fucking skis ball, though. You know Lou was a
You
skis
want to
ball.
get off this
Hey,
subject?
we're
Move
gonna
on.
talk about Lou
No,
Pearlman.
we're gonna talk
We're
about
gonna
O-Town.
talk about
No,
O-Town.
talk about O-Town.
Liquid Dreams. I was in a. Hey,
Liquid.
All right. So this is a proposed patent.
we're gonna talk about O-Town on the board, by the way.
This is a
You can't
proposed.
shut down O-Town.
Just please don't write. I know she's 16, but I want to fuck her so bad.
This is a proposed patent. This is a proposed patent by Sony for skipping commercials in what they call a meaningful way,
Is it the Happa?
which is the hopper. The idea is that you get the little PS3i thing, the little camera, and then when a commercial came up and you wanted to skip it, you just had to say the name of the brand in the commercial.
Yes.
McDonald's.
Genius.
You know, like yell McDonald's
Once you
or Costco or
acknowledge, once you
something.
acknowledge the brand,
Yeah. Levi's or whatever, and then skip it goes. Heineken. All I know is I had the loudest neighbor in the world living above me. I hope he never fucking gets this because I'm never gonna sleep.
This technology is gonna turn
because at 1
everybody.
o'clock in the morning he's gonna be like 1-800-COED.
Yeah.
That's gonna be so terrible.
Dick bigger.
You're like, oh my
Old
god.
Spice, Axe body spray.
Hey, turn off Spike TV, asshole.
He's crying upstairs. It's
You know what?
pronounced Spike TV.
You know what? It's gonna turn
Ed Hardy,
everybody
woo!
into a bunch of crotchety-
UFC Monday nights, yeah. Woo!
Ed Hardy.
Yeah. I don't know why.
Hey, yo, Mike up there. You don't have to say woo.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
I love it. Oh, shit,
You
yeah.
don't need to tell me how many shirts you own when you say the brand, sir.
Oh, damn it, Dracar Noir. Woo!
Well,
I don't know why it sounds like that.
1987? What's going on?
Look, man, I do a lot of commercials.
He's Persian. I don't
and
know.
I know that, like, I've
Dukakis,
noticed
yes.
they put the logo up longer than ever,
Yeah.
so that even when you're TiVoing it, you still can see the logo. And
Mm-hmm.
if there's an image up there that's sexy, they keep the sexy logo up there a little bit longer.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe people will stop it. They'll back it up.
Yeah.
This is actually genius, and for me, it makes me happy because it means they won't stop making commercials, and that's how I make a lot of money.
Okay, touche.
But
well,
what's
well, as
your
a
feeling
human,
on this?
as a human, not as an actor.
Oh, look, I hate the idea of having to. I mean, it is.
If you were
The
watching
sickest
TV,
kind of
if you were
branding.
watching
It's
TV
Clockwork
and you went to
Orange
go
branding.
skip the commercial and it says like to skip this commercial, please
Say
say
the
McDonald's.
brand name. It's
say
fucked
the
up.
fucking brand. Would you be like, you fucking dicks, or would you be like, all right, that's easier than holding the rope fast forward? You know what? A thing where you fast forward a little too long and you try to skip
wouldn't
up,
do it.
and then your shit slows down, and now you're way back to the commercials again.
No,
oh,
man.
I hate that shit.
No, because you know that if you know how to rock your TiVo remote right,
I don't have
you
TiVo.
know-
I just have a DVR.
Well, I do too. Time
Oh.
Warner. I know
Yeah,
how
yeah.
to hit that reverse button just right and drop it right on the time that the show
I'm,
starts.
I'm fucking phenomenal at
This
that shit.
this thing where you have
once
to
in a while,
say
like
the
I'll try to
brand.
skip them, and like it does that thing where it like
Oh, it goes to the end.
it goes it fucks up, like it doesn't respond for half a second,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh no, I'm 2 minutes into my show.
Oh, it's even worse.
So you back up a little bit. Drives
It's
me
worse
nuts.
if you're a sports fan and if you hit it wrong and it goes to the real time.
Oh, bro, that's tough. That's devastating.
But I have to say, this
That's
is
devastating.
disgusting. Is the real answer to the question?
Okay.
The idea that if you
Speaking
want
of disgusting,
if
I
you
got
want to
another one.
skip the product, just make sure that you out loud speak the product's name. Is the ultimate branding.
Right.
And on that note, I'm going to go urinate.
because
Okay.
I think the thing is, it's
Speaking of discussing
it's
fashions,
fucking.
how about in Chinese, all the rage? Chinese are wearing face-kinis on the beach. It's a bikini for your face.
No, that's not how bikinis work. I'm sorry.
Well, it's called the face-kini.
that is a ski mask.
yeah.
That
sorry.
is a ski mask.
That's just Robin Banks. Robin Banks, baby. Robin Banks.
Henry just picked his head out of the doorway
Yeah.
halfway in. No, those are ski masks. They're turning themselves into luchadors.
I like that. I like that they make the little kid one. Yeah, I know.
They
totally
look like luchadors.
Luchadors
first
on the
off.
beach.
I don't think that anybody in China has ever seen Mexican
worst-
lucha libre wrestling.
The worst part about it is that, like, if you're gonna go meet some friends at the beach, I mean, you are fucked. I mean, you are fucked, man. Like, which one of those is Susie?
Okay,
You know what I
hey,
mean?
Mitch,
Which one's a
Mitch,
female?
Mitch,
at
you
that
coming to the
point?
beach today?
Yeah.
Okay, you can spot me. I'm gonna be in the red Face-kini.
Okay, red
Okay.
one. Red one. There not a lot of red ones there today?
Hold on, let me look around. Yeah, there's like 7, 8 of them bitches.
Okay. So I'm looking for black skin under a red kini.
Yeah. So damn, minus the racism element, it should be.
I didn't realize that I would also be one of the 3 people on the beach that's black. Solid point. All right.
I
all
wore
right.
our long sleeves today, so this is gonna be a real predicament for us.
I'm wearing the purple leopard print face kini with bejeweled back. fucking got little fucking
Yo, hey,
rhinestones and shit. Like, what's
okay,
up?
Mitch, you see me? I got the Face-kini with the spinners on the back. They still spinning.
Face-kinis.
Every time I get out of the water, they still spinning, motherfucker. They still spinning.
I'm wearing the McDonald's Face-kini.
Yo, but like how you can't meet up with any, like if this is a thing,
That's
right?
what I'm saying, right? Like, also everybody at the beach is ready to rob a bank.
First of all, like that's
So you could organize a bank robbing in real time.
that
It'd be
shit
very
is,
easy.
That is
Let's go.
terrifying.
Yeah,
that
no, a
looks
little bit
like
is.
something out of a Kubrick movie. Dude.
Now I don't know
It
when
is
they say all
fucking-
the rage hitting China, like, you know what I mean? There might be 10 people on the beach wearing it. There might be 1,000. Who knows?
Well,
right?
how much are these? What
They're $2. $2
$2.
to $4.
Now, how did this become a thing? In many cultures, a tan doesn't imply health and leisure as it does often in Western advertising.
See, is a connection to outdoor work and peasantry. Preserving one's pale skin, the thinking goes, implies that you lead a pampered, successful life.
Yeah, no.
So
I wonder,
I guess
where,
you
I wonder
were-
where they got that from.
Hey, girl, you've been wearing that Face-kini. I see you ain't got no tan on. So,
Because I guess this is a different.
What
story.
are they wearing? I'm back from the urinal.
Yeah, right, that's-
oh, we were just
Okay, that's
discussing
something, right?
because
All I heard was
because
cackling, and I was like, "This is the best part of the show."
if
and I'm
you
seeing a
Okay,
leak.
listen.
if you're in non-Western cultures, as the paragraph is suggesting, if having a tan doesn't mean like you get to spend all day chilling by the beach.
It means you're
chilling at
working in the
pool.
fields.
Working in the fields. So
You're
to
poor.
get like that you're a like upscale person, you want to keep that pale face. So when you're out at the
Very
beach,
antebellum
Face-
South.
What
Kini.
culture is that we're looking at a photo of?
Chinese.
Right now? Oh my god, they don't.
It's in fashion. It's all the rage. The Face-kini.
I mean,
I like
that's-
how they say a sort of light cloth version of a. It's not a sort of version of a ski mask. Do you know? It is a
Yeah.
ski mask.
Yeah,
It's
but
a
like,
rubber
isn't-
ski mask. It's a
isn't
rubber
what's-
ski mask.
What's great about going to the beach is the
It looks like they
sun on
just
your skin.
wrapped a
No,
balloon over their head
That's
and then
what
cut some
poor
holes.
people say.
Well, you just like to watch other people. You just like to look at the water.
That's what peasants say. They like the sun on their skin.
I have an even weirder news.
And is it
No,
really?
wait,
if you're ready, okay.
No,
all right.
we're not ready.
I really
for
do
this,
want to get to
because
another one
this is
though.
this is the thing. I mean,
When you got a minute.
Oh, I want
It's-
something weirder than
it's
that.
fucking.
So much weirder.
I don't. I feel like
I don't know how you could be weirder than that.
Oh, you ready?
I don't know.
All right.
I'm not
nothing.
ready. I
I'd like to
don't
go
know.
out
I'm
on a
ready.
How
limb.
about this?
Let's
Before you
compare
do it,
what's
before you
weird.
do it,
All
I'd
right,
like to
all
make
right,
a
let's go.
statement.
Okay, go ahead.
Nothing is weirder than that.
Oh,
Go ahead.
here we go. Boy, are you in for a surprise. In the Ukraine.
Oh shit.
Oh, the Ukraine.
Oh
It's
shit.
pronounced Ukraine.
You gonna bring it, Ukraine?
Also, Ukraine. This is an art installation in a museum, sanctioned. All legal paperwork has been written out and signed, so this is perfectly legal.
no.
As part of an art installation,
Not gonna invoke it.
a woman puts up a thing where she has just gorgeous women sleeping on beds and invites
that's
men.
nice. Sure.
Men, it's called the Sleeping Beauty
Oh,
Project.
to come and lay with them.
It's
Sure.
not- it's
Okay.
not
No,
That
no,
sounds
no,
nice.
no.
No, it sounds nice, Daddy.
It's not come and lay with them. You Sleeping Beauty. Prince kisses her. She wakes up. Right.
Oh,
that's the story.
nice. That's
Right.
nice. Children's
Sleeping girls.
Children's story.
You just go up and kiss them.
You just go up and kiss them.
Not gonna
But-
end up. It's
and
not
they
gonna
wake
end
But
up.
the
up.
reason I say that they had to sign paperwork
I don't know
is
green.
there's a catch.
I don't wanna look at it.
When
Oh, God.
when you kiss the girl,
I'm terrified to look.
you're both legally bound to get married the next day. So if you walk up and kiss one of these, and by the way, that is a sleeping fucking beauty.
Wait, so that girl's lovely. So she is
She
going
is.
to bed thinking,
So
my
she's-
husband
she
will
just-
awaken me.
She has to sleep there until somebody kisses her.
And it's
the
an
moment
art
somebody kisses her.
installation?
Yep. I know.
So like,
I know.
it's like forever.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's still divorces in the Ukraine. I don't know. Ukraine
I'm
divorce.
sure.
So like,
Is there video? I want to see. I want
has
to see
anyone
it.
been kissed?
The
I wanna
tension
see
of
the
the
girl.
performance is in the seductiveness of and fear of the ultimate moment, describes the exhibit's press release. The viewer will have to think twice before kissing the beauty. The beauty will have to decide if the ultimate moment has come or not. The show will end the moment the beauty opens her eyes.
Oh,
so if
she
you
doesn't
go
have
up
to
and
open her eyes.
Exactly.
So if she's smart, she's like,
she's like, "Fuck you! I'm not marrying any of you."
She look at
That's
me.
fucking cheating. Oh hell, you can't. Sleeping Beauty ain't had no choice.
man, my Sleeping Beauty has sunglasses on.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I was
video.
thinking. You ready for this? This is
No,
some video.
see,
that
that's
she-
She's
just-
like, I want
it's
to.
not
I want to see her
bogus,
ignore
son.
it. I want her to
Nah,
see.
she
What did you like?
looks-
I'm like, no.
looks
Does
like
she
she's
wait
into
for
it.
the electricity?
That's the thing is like if she could just peek her eye open just to, you ever do that thing where you like fall asleep and you're like, how well could I make it look like I'm still asleep?
Can
but
you
keep
tell my eyes are
open
open?
My eyes a little
Can you
bit.
tell I'm looking, Teddy?
Yeah. Can you tell? Can you tell?
No, that's just real covert, Henry.
Got to get you on one of these Sleeping Beauty projects.
Oh, man.
You're a shoe in.
Again?
You're very under the radar.
Oh man, this is
These guys
buffering
are a
for days.
mess.
I mean-
These guys are a mess.
That's
First
a-
of all,
that's a-
real solid mustache.
It's like
sir.
glasnost,
I-
white,
and I-
white. Get the fuck out of here.
I brought for her green onion
I
sprig.
bring-
I brought sprig of green onion for her. You like shallots? You like shallots? I brought shallots for my
wedding bouquet is punch your neck.
Yes, hello.
I didn't think we could get a Glassnose reference out of tonight's episode.
We'll
timely.
spend our honeymoon in my one-bedroom flat I share with my mom.
Prepare for honeymoon murder.
I don't even understand.
I don't think I can get the video to play.
it's
Okay, listen, but this is the thing.
There you go.
If it was really
It is weirder than the
legitimate, though.
Face-kini, right? It is weirder than the Face-kini.
It's weirder. It's not as visually shocking as the
Okay,
Face-kini.
fair enough.
But it is
Now-
ultimately terrifying, and I will not sleep tonight.
I bring this up because the obvious question comes up. Suppose that art installation, you could do this in Vegas because you can get married, like in 30 seconds over there and divorced.
Doesn't mean you should do it.
Well, of course. But so let's say you go to Vegas and you find this is art installation and you're married now. Shit, that ruins everything. Well, supposing you weren't married and you walk in and just gorgeous woman sleeping there like, yeah, kiss her and you're married. Do you walk the fuck out or do you take a tour of the Sleeping Beauties?
How many Sleeping Beauties are there?
Whoa! It's a room
Probably-
of Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah,
You kiss one.
Yeah, there's like 10 of them or something. I think. I don't know.
Oh my God, I wasn't clear on
And
that.
and of course they keep keep it well stocked. You know what I mean? Whenever one
no,
goes,
I
they
don't
brought
know
it.
what
Oh.
you mean.
Yeah, we
Mitch.
really don't, Mitch. This is an
You're
unfucking
saying,
charted
wait,
thing.
did you realize it was a room full of people?
I did realize that. I did not realize they had a bullpen of beauties.
Wait a second. Are you sure
Who
that
is
it's
putting on this exhibit?
I
When
think
you-
that it's
when
a
you walk in, you
mistranslation.
sign- and when you
It's-
walk
it's
in,
not
you
Sleeping
sign a-
Beauty. It's whorehouse.
Okay, fair enough. Close, very close, very close. Although you don't really marry per se whores, right? Like that's
Well, not
the
with that
idea.
attitude, you don't.
Not with any attitude, you nitwit.
But you gotta.
To walk into the exhibit, you have to sign a contract that states, if I kiss one of these girls, I will marry her.
Legally binding
Yeah.
art contract.
And the princesses also had to, all the Sleeping Beauties all had to sign a contract that says, somebody kisses me and I open my eyes. I have to
Hey,
marry him.
Ukraine, what's your fucking problem?
Okay, see, here's my thing, though, right?
Is it that
Here's my
tough,
thing.
difficult to get a date in the Ukraine?
Here's my thing, man. Is that like, okay, you don't know that these ladies ain't peeking? You know what I'm saying? They ain't got no fucking sleeping mask
No,
on.
look, her eyes are closed and he's kissing her. and
You
he's-
know she got a. I've been able to peek, son. Am I open?
You've been able to peek,
Are they open?
son.
Are they open right now? Are they open? Are they open?
Honestly, I can't tell.
Are they open? Okay, don't kiss me, you ugly.
They're open.
Don't kiss me, you ugly is going to have to go on the board.
Are they open? Are they open? They're open.
What if one of the beauties did that? They're like, no, ow!
Shit, I had some in my eye.
I'm sleeping. We're all suddenly Chris Rock. I'm sleeping.
They sleeping. They
You
sleeping.
gotta bring some
spin
kind of
it.
powder
Spin
to
it, spin it.
bring some kind of powder to sprinkle over their eyes, and they're like,
What about the
I
poor
see
guy?
your
That,
eyes opened.
what about the guy that kisses every girl and none of them agree to marry
You know what I'm
him?
saying? Like, what if you do? You kiss like
Well,
five.
time to change that oil, Dad.
Is
you
it
know,
like a-
time to fucking go out and
five
find
girls.
yourself a new cologne.
You kiss 5 girls.
Because that's all they're going off of, like
do they
pheromones
get like?
and shit.
Do they just sleep all day?
Yeah, they just sleep in the beds.
They don't
all
get.
day.
They don't get like. They can eat.
I have a
Did they
theory.
get
I'm
up on a
sure they're
food
allowed
break?
to like get up and stuff. I'm just saying, as
I'm not.
the installation.
I have a theory.
Is it a 24-hour installation?
I have a theory. The artist that created this installation.
Female, by the way.
That blows my theory.
Okay. Damn it. Sorry. I was just saying, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's so good. Oh fuck. Oh my god, the defeat on his face. The resignation.
I really thought it was some loser guy who set it all up and then he kissed the first girl.
Oh,
You're my wife now. I'm Gary.
Oh, that was so good.
You'll-
Henry had so
we
much
all
momentum.
contractually
He was putting
bound
together.
together.
There's a woman. That kills my
It
theory.
fucking, you could see him like putting a theory together.
I really had that theory. I thought it made sense.
going up the roller coaster. He's like, ah.
I'm at the top of the roller coaster and now it's shut down and we're climbing the ladder. We're on a ladder. Fuck.
Oh my god.
It really made you see where I was going though, right? Some loser sets up an art installation.
You got fucking Tanya Harding.
The sick
straight
thing is
up.
that if it's a woman,
Why?
if a woman who's trying to like, I want to sort. The only reason you make this art installation is to say that it is modern marriage is a mess.
What is it?
So
is there
why
a
would you
quote from
make
her
the
of
people really be
anything?
married? It's obviously like a tongue-in-cheek commentary on marriage and ownership, right?
It's what do we have? Any? It's a Ukrainian Canadian.
The listener at home is like, "Hey, dumbass, it's just supposed to be weird." And look at the
The tension of
That's
the
not an ironic
the tension of the
mustache.
performance. That's what I was quoting earlier. The tension of the performance is in the seductiveness and fear of the ultimate moment. Describes the exhibit's press release. So it's not so much the lady. I suppose.
That's pretty much all she has. Now, wait, is there contract language up there? Is like if I kiss her?
Oh,
or
here we
something?
go. The disagreement was later because they had a disagreement. I was saying they had to go to the government and go, is it okay if we just marry people out of this fucking art installation? So after the disagreement was later worked out in meetings between the ministry and the museum, Natalia Mikhailova,
Sure.
public relations representative at the museum, confirmed the Ministry of Culture's intervention, stating in an email to the Huffington Post, we had really had some difficulties, but now it is all arranged and the exhibition is working as planned.
Hey, Ukrainian ministry, what's your fucking problem?
I mean,
This fine. This fine. This okay.
It's good. Blah,
It's good.
blah, blah. Like, I
Marriage.
mean, it just has so much potential to go terribly. Like, if you like finally, like, if you just been getting kissed all day by creepy dudes, you open your eyes and then you just
Pick
like,
the wrong one. Teddy, it doesn't have the potential to go
Where are we
terribly
gonna-
wrong. It's just terribly wrong.
Without art installations like
I've been too
this,
generous in my assessment.
without art installations like this, where are we going to get our next crop of reality stars?
I mean,
The
that's
children of these people. I mean,
I could tell by the feel of his kiss that he was the perfect man. For
Is
me.
that any more? Is that any more?
how did your
of a-
parents
any-
meet? Well,
Yeah.
my mom decided to sleep in a museum one night.
I mean,
I woke up
comparatively-
when a guy started forcibly mouth raping her with his
compare
tongue.
if you met
well,
someone on a
they got
reality
married.
show, The
Not
Bachelor style,
forcibly.
right? If you was like, you know,
Yeah,
if you had a
it's
kid
true.
with someone, I mean, who knows how many kids been spawned by bachelorette fornication, but if you were like, how'd you guys meet? And you're like, well, I was on a reality show and I beat out a bunch of other tool bags. Your mother picked me. We did magazine covers for a few months. You were born.
terrible.
And
But what about it was a part of an artistic expression? That's beautiful.
Right.
Awesome.
Now, how did you and mom meet? Yeah. Well, she was in an art exhibit.
I kissed her, and I had this great mustache.
I signed a contract.
And this-
I brought
and
her
this
some
Hitler
shallots.
haircut.
I brought some shallots and found me a bride sleeping.
I brought her a bouquet.
I figured we'd
Of
get
the
to know each
worst
other after
vegetable.
she woke up.
Like, okay.
Which, by the way, that's a phrase you never want to say to anybody.
What?
I got to know her after she woke up.
In her final waking moments.
yeah. Once she woke up, we went out for dinner.
You know, we made it work.
Once she woke up, then I introduced myself. Hi, I'm James. How's it going?
I'm your husband.
Hey, what's going on?
Like, imagine.
We're
Like,
gonna
if
get
you're-
to know each other real well during our wedding vows.
I can't imagine, like, if you're one of those dudes, right, and you just like you made the move to kiss one of the sleeping beauties, and she happened to wake up,
yeah.
and you would, and you're like, oh shit, like, imagine that you're just like, fuck, I'm married now, like that, like.
No, I think any guy who would do this is like, fuck, I'm married now.
I
No
don't-
dude is in this art installation
Here's
thinking,
what
I hope
happens.
I don't get married.
Here's what's
feel-
fucked.
I
Is like
mean-
you'd go to kiss the thing, and then she'd open her eyes and smile and be missing all but like 3 teeth, and she's like, "Holy damn, we're gonna get married." You're like, "Oh,
Because they all look hot in the
No.
photos.
damn it!"
Like,
Of course, I guess they wouldn't have a
do you
redneck
think the
accent. I'm
guys-
just suggesting.
No, it makes sense though. Do you think the guys are like surprised that they're suddenly married? They have to know they're about to be married.
Yeah, they have to sign something before they go in.
But what
So
I'm
these
saying
dudes
is,
wanna
like,
get
the
married.
magnitude
true.
still may
True.
not hit them though
Yeah,
until it
it's true.
happens.
True.
Now
I'm
they
saying?
might just
They
be.
just want to get laid.
You ever just walk into a store and go, "Oh, let me see what's in this place." Maybe there's
No,
that.
I've never done that with anything that is the equivalent of marriage.
Well,
There's
no,
nothing
no.
in a store that is the equivalent of marriage.
I'm not suggesting you're gonna go in and buy anything.
Wait a matrimony yet.
I'm merely saying that look, if this was I would go in. I would go in. I would not kiss anybody, but I'd go in because I'd be curious.
Yeah,
I
you'd
want
have to go see it.
I have to see.
You
it.
wouldn't kiss anyone though, would you?
No.
Like, do
Would you
think,
be so
I'm gonna
confident?
wear. I'm gonna
Would
wear
you
a
sign the
face-kini.
contract? Would
Is
you
what
sign
I'll wear a face-kini when I go in. You
Face-kini.
see?
That is called
That's-
recall
yeah.
in comedy, folks. Now,
Yeah.
now here's the
The
question.
face-kini, nobody marrying me.
Is there that big of a difference between going and being a part of an art project and getting married and being on a reality show and ending up proposing to someone?
I also wouldn't do that, but I mean.
But except there's money there and fame.
Yeah, it's true. It's
like
true.
the-
And
Art-
also, you're
like,
not
I'm
just. It's
picturing-
not just immediate. You'd be living like in those bachelor things. It's like a 2-3 week thing. This is like
It's a real deal.
kiss her now before that guy does.
Like, think it's not being on national television. Like, think about going to the Fate Gallery down by Vermont and Melrose, and then like you walk out of an art show, and not only are you bored, you're
Right.
married.
That's what I'm saying. Like, imagine.
But what if you run around and like kiss a bunch of them? Like, I mean,
Oh, you're a bigamist.
yeah. Like, are they
bet
gonna go?
I-
All right, they're all.
there's something
Only
in the
the first one
contract. There's
counts.
something in the
Only the
contract.
first one counts.
It's not multiple choice because
Like 3 of them wake up at the same time and start fighting.
You're like, no, I kissed her first. I promise. Yeah, that was her.
I mean, it's the thing though. It's like if you you go to your family, right? I don't know how family structures work in Ukraine, but you like show up with a woman and then they're like, oh, hey,
find yourself wife.
Hey, like who is this?
Glasnost.
Yeah, right.
I apologize to all of our Eastern European listeners.
You're like, oh, this is why.
It's all I know.
It's a good word though.
Glasnost.
I don't know that.
I think it's something about openness. Shout out to Bruce. Shout out to Gorbachev. Mikhail, you did it.
Putin.
But
this is
but
a
like,
mess.
okay, listen. You bring a wife to a family gathering, right? And then everyone's like, oh, like who is this? And you're like, this is my wife.
Right.
And you're like, yo, son, you just went out for bread like 2 hours ago. Like, where you come back with a wife? You're like, I kissed her.
Stop
Like
by
the-
the National Museum of Art.
You're like the Jack and the Beanstalk. Where,
Yeah.
like, I stopped at art installation and I come home with a wife.
Yeah. And like, you just like, I feel
She's
like that's
with
what I'm saying.
child.
Like all of those things would run through your head the
oh
moment
yeah, what
after
if
she
they're
woke up.
preggers? Oh yeah, it's true. I didn't
They
think
told
about
me just
that.
to kiss her. I could not help.
I mean, this is a fucking. I mean, it's a strange exhibit. I'll give it that.
Well, that's why I brought it up.
I mean,
Hold up.
and again,
Let's not forget there's people who are wearing ski masks on the beach because they don't
in
want to seem
China,
poor.
in China, yo, that's the best way
I
that it
mean,
can be described.
yeah.
Because
People
they
are wearing
don't want to
ski-
seem
Yeah.
poor.
Right.
I'm upscale, Face-kini.
Good. Which is
I
amazing.
won't enjoy the
It
benefits
is.
of going to the beach. The whole point of going to the beach, I guess you want to look
Yeah,
at
but
the
you're
water.
like
but
you're
you
like a
wanna
heavy
feel the
surfer
sun.
guy.
I am
You're
a big
like
surfer guy.
big
that's
time
true.
surfer dude.
But you don't think
Surf your tits off everywhere
wait,
you go.
you're-
So of course the Face-kini doesn't make any sense to
But
you.
like your only interest in going to a beach is to just look at it, not to feel the water, feel the like. What happens when that thing gets wet?
It's waterproof.
It's like a balloon. It's
Like a
waterproof.
hole.
That's awful.
It's like a Speedo for your face. Imagine a Speedo
Well, that I like.
for your face. All right, there you go.
Wait a minute. That's like the worst
That's how I've
focus group
sold-
of all time. Wait, this is an outrageous Speedo for your face. You say what?
That I like.
And that, Riffalonians, is how you sell a Face-kini to Henry Dittman.
Good night, everybody.
Oh my god. That's like fucking Mike Rowe on QVC. We're like, I just want this. Like, what? It's a Speedo for your face. Oh yeah. I'll pay
Well, we
off.
don't want anyone to max out their credit cards, but do you have another credit card?
I'm
You
just going to
saw
say,
it.
you're going to be punching yourself tomorrow when
It's-
you go to the
it's-
beach without a
You
Face-kini.
saw him get
You
it.
don't want to look like a
we,
fool.
We saw him get a conscience. We saw him for
Yeah.
1 second go, well, and I bet you his producer was going, Mike.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Mike,
Oh, absolutely.
Don't talk to him about
Oh.
the payment plan, Mike.
Yeah,
Right?
Absolutely.
You
Credit
did.
card, Mike.
That's what I'm saying. Yo, like, listen, it's a weird thing that like you don't want to look poor so badly that you will look
you
like
don't
a
wanna be-
robber. Do you know what I mean?
You don't want to be recognized as poor so badly that you would prefer to not be recognized.
Yeah. That's a good way to put
You-
it.
you
I
don't
like
want-
it. That's
you don't
solid.
wanna be
That is
seen-
solid.
You don't want to be seen as a poor person so bad that you want to look like a poor person that has to rob you with a ski mask.
Hey,
on.
were you at the beach? Yeah, I was at the beach last
No, you
weekend.
weren't.
I didn't see you. You saw the pink ski teeny?
Oh yeah, the pink one.
Yeah. Which one? Oh, damn. Spinners. The one with spinners on.
And then in this imaginary conversation, I would then say, Teddy, you're already incredibly dark.
Damn it.
I did recognize you. You were the only black person.
But I'm not as dark, right? I guess.
I mean, you know, eye holes are very tricky, but the pigment certainly
Do you
shows
end
through.
up with like a tan around your eye hole? Those eye holes were tiny.
that'd
Yeah,
be
that, wait
so
a minute.
tough.
Wait a minute.
You would
Does that
be
mean
real
that
tough.
black people in China, they're just like, wow, you
Stop
must
your
have
sentence.
never
Stop your
seen-
sentence. Stop your sentence. Stop your sentence.
I'm just now I want to go to
You
China
are
with Teddy.
incredibly poor.
You never
already-
have dollar to your name. Yeah.
Already.
That's what I'm like thinking to myself. Like, are they like that man never
You're like-
seen,
you're
never
like it.
seen a dollar?
You'd be so,
Karate
you'd be
Kid
so high
remake.
status. You'd be like a high roller.
Yeah, I'm white as shit. Yeah, I'm good to
You will
go.
also not be wrinkly.
I would be the
And I will
poorest.
be.
I'd be the poorest person in China.
I wear a lot of sunscreen, by the way.
Poorest man in China.
Right? If I showed up with a fucking
Just tell everybody you're wearing the latest Face-kini.
Yeah.
That's
Do you
what
think
I
that
would
people
do.
are like dropping money in P. Diddy's coffee cup when he's walking around China? Oh, he's so poor.
I want to see like a celebrity, like a black celebrity, go to the beach in China and just like rock a
Someone really dark.
ski
Wesley
teeny.
Snipes.
Again, the way to
I
do
want
it.
to see Wesley Snipes break out of jail on tax evasion charges and then go to China with a ski teeny.
Wesley.
No, the way to do it is to say that you've already got your Face-kini on, because they're a polite culture. They won't call you out on it. They're not gonna be like, no, you don't. You just be like, no, this is my Face-kini. They'll be like, Wow, you must have the latest in Face-kini technology because it looks like you're just
I
black.
do wonder. You know, I do.
That is the most racist thing any of us has said, and we've really pushed the boundaries. You think so? No, it's not racist at all.
I'm like,
just really
of
been
all
looking.
the terrible things I said on the show, like I didn't feel like that bad.
I love how
Really, after all this stuff about the Ukrainians?
I like how Mitch like, you think so? Like a legitimate inquiry, like we can redirect.
Well, then you're gonna love this. Oh, I like that.
Oh boy.
Time left. Do you know what I mean?
What about this?
Oh, let's see, like Jay-Z on the beach in China with a fucking, what are the masks
He wouldn't
called
be
again?
on the beach.
Face-kini.
Face-kini.
He wouldn't be on the
Face-kini.
beach in China.
I don't
He'd
know
be on
what
a
they
yacht.
call them. But.
That's true. You'd be on a yacht with a face-kini, and you'd be balling so hard right there. You know, your yacht with a face-kini. Imagine you just like on a yacht, and like no one knew who you were. You'd be like a modern-day pirate. This shit would be amazing.
Can I go back a topic? I have
Sure.
a serious something that just popped to my mind. The whole tin hatting thing.
Oh, yeah,
Has there ever been like two random celebrities that you just felt like, oh, they should be together? You never did that before in your
I
life?
feel like that's what Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie were.
I feel like it was Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston. I'm sorry to say, they're both so like middle America, tan and blonde, and I never felt like it.
I was just thinking like because
they
were
look like
A-
brother and
I'm just
sister.
thinking
That's
like
why they hold
A-list
on to them
stars
so
and
much.
shit, like A-list stars, like Brad Pitt, Angel. I don't know. I don't care for Jennifer Aniston in any way, shape, or form. And it's probably unfair to say I've never met her, but
no, you can still dislike.
I
her.
haven't heard of. I can't say I've heard any good stories about her. I'm not a fan of her acting.
But like, how about like like any singers or rock stars or anything? You've been like, oh, they'd be so great.
I always thought that Chad Kroeger and Avril Lavigne should get together.
Who's Chad Kroeger?
They just married. Nickelback lead singer. Him and Avril Lavigne just got engaged or something.
there we go.
The Nickelback guy?
And Avril
They're still a
Lavigne.
band?
Yeah, man. They're killing it. They fucking make.
Are they great? I thought they were a joke.
They are, but
You know, Jason.
a lot of people just don't care.
Jason Alexander was in their latest
He
music
married
video.
the Nickelback guy? Wait, he was in where? He was in the Nickelback band?
He's in the Nickelback music video. He plays two characters. In the
Oh,
latest
God.
Music Nickelback music
Are bands still
I am
using comedians
so
in their
offended
music videos?
that you know any Nickelback trivia whatsoever. Not
I
only
know-
did you
I
know,
know
the lead
the
singer's
trivia.
name, but you also know his wedding plans.
Mitch.
You know about their
I'm
music
deep undercover.
videos.
Mitch, I'm deep undercover, Mitch.
I'm that
deep
It's his
undercover.
You do
job to
not-
get the research. He's the color man, they call it in sports. Color man.
Whoa.
That's what they call it in
Whoa.
sports.
Dittman.
Whoa.
Dittman.
They, color man.
Whoa.
I'll tell you why, because he's second.
Whoa.
You know, not the color dude. you know why they call him Nickelback? That's the only thing I know about him, but I've never heard their song.
Yeah. You know.
Because they're like a Seattle band or something, and where they used to all go get coffee, they'd like put down $1, and they always got a Nickelback, and that's why they're called that. And then when I heard that story, I vowed to never hear their music.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Is that really? I never heard this.
It was like you put down $3, you get a Nickelback. $2, you get whatever it was. The change on a cup of coffee at their coffee spot was a Nickelback, and so they named themselves Nickelback. And now I would like to murder myself.
Wow.
You thought I knew something. I ain't know nothing compared to that.
Hold on. All he knows is the origin of the name. You could read that in 3 seconds on Wikipedia.
Yo,
you know about the whole dude's whole.
That's really true.
What's his blood type, Teddy? What's his blood type?
Typo negative.
Uh-huh.
Mitch is
Oh,
right.
shedding a tear. I miss typo negative.
He
They were
also
good.
likes feta cheese.
See, that was a bummer when Peter Steele died last year. I didn't care for that much. That
No,
was,
I mean,
miss that
you know,
guy. See,
the
that
thing
was-
is,
I like
I
him.
was
Typo
quite
negative. Good
I
damn.
was quite frankly surprised to see that the merger of Chad Kroeger and Avril Lavigne could generate the cultural ripples that it did.
What are you talking about?
I saw plenty
Nobody
of people discussing
noticed.
that.
Nobody but you noticed.
What?
I
The
saw quite a
cultural
few people
ripples that you're
Here's
talking
who noticed.
about it.
Here's a list of people who noticed. Teddy Tutson, anybody in a face-kini. Those are the where the ripples were.
and Mrs.
That's and Sleeping
You've
Beauties in
got
the
to
museum.
understand.
And Grandma Levine.
I'm
Yes,
running
and Grandma
very.
Oh, you got married to a nickel.
Afro. I'm running very intensive.
Racist grandma got all nervous
black-
for a minute. Wait a
black
minute, you
op
married a what
reconnaissance,
back? You know,
Okay. I'm running.
nickel grandma, Nickelback.
running-
Oh, okay, all right. I thought you said some other kind of back. I didn't want that in my
running
family.
some real
Okay.
serious black op reconnaissance
Because you
operations
imagine-
here.
Why gotta be black up?
Because you imagine that Avril Lavigne's grandmother is an incredible racist.
Oh,
I mean, a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
It's you don't have to throw a rock very far to find an old white racist grandma in this country. It's
I think she's Canadian though, so you know.
all right. Well,
Oh,
or in Canada.
I don't know, man. Very open-minded in Canada. They're very nice. They don't have guns.
This is my job, man. This is my job. You understand me, son?
That's right. I forgot they're both Canadian.
As a man infiltrating pop culture, I have to know these things.
He's the color man.
I have to know, Mitch.
You've heard this expression, right, in sports.
I don't watch sports.
Teddy,
no, I've
you
never
watch
heard this
sports.
expression.
I've been the color man.
There's the play-by-play guy is the main guy who says, and he's running down the court, and he's got the ball, and he's going to take a three. And then the color man will say, oh, well, you know, when he played at UCLA, he'll this and this. He's got, like, comedy. He's got facts. He's got information.
Funny thing about Avril Lavigne, Bob, she used to be married to the lead singer for Sum 41.
Yeah, remember that.
And you want to fucking judge me? You ain't no better than nobody, you son of a bitch. You get out of here. Take you and your high horse and get out of town. I hope they tar and feather your ass.
Teddy.
As it turns out, I saw a documentary on punk music several years ago. And one of my favorite scenes in the film was because they were interviewing all these old school punks, like Subhumans or wherever in England. They interviewed, like, you know, Social D and stuff, which is not that old school, but whatever. People from the Ramones, Dead Kennedys and such. Anyway, they were talking. There was a point in the documentary talking about like sort of new wave punk and so on and so forth. And they talk about Sum 41. And there's this girl. This guy is interviewing this girl at a party about Sum 41. What do you think of these new wave punk bands like Sum 41? And she's in a squatter house with a bunch of punks. It's like not the place you want to talk about Sum 41. So she starts screaming her fucking tits out about how much she hates Sum 41. And the guy next to her goes, the guy next to her goes, that's the lead singer you're talking to. And she goes, well, I mean, like, I don't hate them. I don't really like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. And she, like, immediately fucking never seen anybody backpedal so quickly. I'd have been like, that's my opinion, man.
Why would she? I have to be honest, like, when I came up through high school, for me, it was all Dead Kennedys,
sure,
Agent Orange, that
God,
realm of punk music.
Yeah. Agent Orange, baby.
Teddy, I'll split this beer with you, by the way, if you want to split it with me.
There's should be more in the other.
That realm of punk rock music is my realm of punk rock music. And all my friends, I was the biggest, like, new guy in, like, the everyone's a skater. Everyone,
right.
It was probably the early 90s, I guess. That era of punk rock.
Yeah.
Those motherfuckers never would have backed down if they were talking to some pop band and they'd said some kind of shit in front of a camera. They never would have backed down. It's like,
I don't know what anybody in Nickelback looks like. And
I got nothing.
I don't think
Nickelback.
that I would give a
I just don't know their music, and it's not for me.
Well, I mean, I don't care for their music. I don't know that I'd give like an impassioned speech about how much I hate their music or anything. I can't think of a lot of bands that I would.
But if you did, and then the guy was like, "I'm in Nickelback," you'd be like, "Hey, man, well, my bad. Nothing against you, but I don't like your music." You wouldn't say, "Oh, no, you're great."
Well,
you're
she
great.
didn't really do that per se, but she did. I mean, she was like going off on the band and had them as people and their music and how they ruined the scene and all this shit. And literally didn't realize she was talking to the lead singer of Sum 41.
Yeah, but at that point, why don't you just say, "Hey, man, whatever."
That's what I'm saying,
bro. You fucked up.
I don't know. Anyway, so while I was watching that documentary, I think I had a girlfriend at the time. I don't remember. And I was like, and I'm laughing my ass off. And she goes, you know, he's married to Avril Lavigne. That's how I knew.
Holy cow.
Oh, that's somebody I don't like. Avril, whatever the fuck her. I don't care for her in any way. I used to have a long impassioned speech about it, but I've dropped it because I can't remember it now.
Well, I mean,
I do. There's a part of my brain that has like a storage of like things I hate about Avril Lavigne or Avril or whatever the fuck her name is. But I think I've lost it.
You just can imagine that she's
I think
at
I've
home.
replaced it with love for something else.
She's
instead
at
of hate
home
for
listening
her.
to this podcast with a single tear running down her cheek.
Oh, I'm sure.
She's a
I'm
big
sure
straight
gives a
riffing
shit.
fan. I'm sure Avril Lavigne loves straight riffing, dude.
I would welcome her on the show. I would love to sit and have a chat.
Love to have a career retrospective with Avril Lavigne. I would have. Oh my God, the questions for days.
I bet she's funny. I don't really know.
No,
I
I
can't
don't
say
think so.
anything nice.
The awkward thing. The awkward thing about this podcast, and I've thought about it a few times, is that it's run out of my apartment, and
I kept calling it the studio.
well,
It's a studio. You converted this
But what I'm
place into
saying,
a
if I had
studio.
a studio that I didn't live in, yes, people could come by, park their
You
car,
make yourself
come in,
sound like a squatter.
be on the show, and then just leave. But like it's I've thought about like, well, what if I had so and so on here that I don't really like and Teddy hates, and then I thought like, no, because at some point, okay, that's the show. I have to close it out. Now I'm in my apartment with this person that we both hate. And I have to walk them out to the elevator and, see you later. There's a few minutes before the show. They're in my home You know, it's a lot of that kind of stuff.
It's Sully's it.
But even still, I'd probably. She's not going to hurt anybody. Bring her in. I don't care.
I would have a lot of questions about that Avril Lavigne era.
Yeah.
She shot up real big. She got in right when a lot of that pop punk songwriting dynamic was really kicking into gear.
Wasn't she like a Mickey Mouse Club kid or something like that too to start?
She started for punk music. She was, yeah. She was sort of like the.
I don't know if she was
cleanest
Mickey Mouse
possible
necessarily, but
version.
she. And by the way, you guys.
No. I was only gonna have
We're
a beer.
about out of time.
I was only gonna have that because you were gonna have
This real Levine speech you're going into better be good.
You're gonna close on this Avril Lavigne.
Because I want you to know we're out of time.
Okay,
so.
well, I'm just saying that I think she got
will
hooked
not
up
stop him
with,
from spreading the Avril Lavigne love that he has.
No, I don't love.
to
She
all
got
the
hooked
people.
up with the songwriting group,
knowledge.
The Matrix, and they basically wrote everything that she did.
Henry's
And-
face right now is
and,
precious.
it's like Christmas morning over there.
He's the kid on the back of the toy box, on the back of the cereal box with the toy, who's like amazed.
You mean I can send away for X-ray specs? Holy shit, man!
If I sell grit.
Oh God!
What were you gonna? What kind of shit were you gonna tell us about Avril
It doesn't
Lavigne?
even matter
And the
anymore.
Matrix.
It doesn't even matter anymore.
The Matrix has you,
The
Daddy.
Matrix wrote all of Avril Lavigne's songs. That was my point.
Oh, okay.
They
well,
wrote it and they sued.
so
She sued, and like when she sued, and she was trying to claim credit for songwriting, she literally said like, "I changed that word to park. That was what I contributed." And you know, she had these like three like geniuses from Sweden or whatever that came in, did all the sound, did all the lyrics and shit or whatever. And she's like, no, you gotta give me some credit. You gotta give me some credit. And they're like, oh, what'd you do? And she's like, I just added a word.
She's no Miley Cyrus.
She is no
Is your
party in the
point?
USA. It's basically my point. She is she will never get a Nicholas Sparks movie ever. That is how I want to stay.
They wanted to rhyme dark with Mark. I said, no, you rhyme that shit with Park. Henry, what can we plug for you? What you got coming up? I wanted to ask you so bad about all the Mad Men stuff, but I hadn't seen the episode
what
yet,
are you gonna
so fuck
do?
it.
What
It's
are you
all
gonna
right.
do?
We'll
What are you
have
gonna
you
do?
back some other time.
You could
What
follow me
what
on
got?
at Henry Dittman at Twitter account.
HenryDittman.
That's some fine spelling, Mitch. I'm on.
Henry Dittman.
You know what, man? Fuck it. You'll hear me on this show again at some point. I got other stuff out there. Google me, but this has been awesome.
And keep
I
in
was
mind,
supposed to- I
he
think-
did not do the Mortal Kombat Rain voice.
No, that's not me. I was supposed to be here for an hour. I just realized.
Oh, shit. You got to tell us in the beginning. 'cause
No. My publicist was like, "You're there for an hour." I'm just realizing right now that it's been 2 hours.
Yeah, we usually do 2 hours.
This is fucking awesome.
Did nobody tell you that it was 2 hours?
I just wasn't paying attention to the time.
Okay.
I just been having a great time.
That's good.
That's how we like it.
That's
for the best for us.
Yeah,
greatest compliment
you've
ever.
If you want to help me out, tweet out this fucking show. Obviously, it's great.
Oh, we're
Tweet
gonna-
it out,
thank you.
folks.
We'll
Tweet
do
it out.
We'll do
you.
it. Henry
Oh,
Dittman, everybody.
This guy. Just showering with the love. I
Feeling
just feel it.
It's good.
Gonna
This
tear
is how
up.
riffing's supposed to be.
Tedrick, what have you got coming up?
Sunday night, Hollywood Improv, September 1st. The men's club. Be there, 9:30, bitches. Be doing the damn thing. So come on out.
And you have a piece of glitter on your nose. I have glitter radar. I'm just letting you know. Don't you wipe that on this table. I will smack you in your mouth.
Why you got glitter all over your house, son?
I got stuff coming up.
Mitch, what you got?
Stay tuned for things.
Okay.
I'm working on stuff.
Good night, bitches.
Thanks for listening to Straight Riffin'. You can catch all past and future episodes of Straight Riffin' on the official website riffin.net, riffin.net. Keep in mind, we do air live every Monday night from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific time. That's 10 p.m. to midnight for you East Coasters. You can actually watch that right on Facebook, on our fan page, facebook.com/straightriffin. Like us, check out the Ustream page. You can even chat while we're doing the show. That's how we interact with the fans. We thank you so much for listening. Check out riffin.net. Buy my album. Buy Teddy's album. We'll catch you again next time. And rip the fuck on, bitches!